I'm no expert at this, not my wheelhouse exactly, but it's really fascinating. They look at the crime scene, they get there immediately, and they say, okay, what if this is what happened? And then that's what leads them to go investigate their hypotheses. That's what I like to do in politics in general. And then I'm told, well, you're speculating. I say, well, if you couldn't speculate, you couldn't arrest and convict anybody. If you didn't speculate and then try to test your speculations and see if they're based in fact or not.
And so, I also believe that law enforcement finds a motive, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find a motive. I was just looking for a motive. Now, the other part of this whole story, which is completely wacko, is that he is currently, well, he's dead now, but he was currently under investigation by the DOJ.
Really?
For like insider trading and stuff like that. And when you say the word insider trading, the insider trading and Nancy Pelosi are synonyms, So, what if? I don't know.
They're thinking about pardoning a whole string of people for the crimes they have not yet committed.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Definitely want to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But first, what if he was going to be, because he was going to be deposed too by the DOJ. And what if he's going to start singing, well, Nancy Pelosi told me this was going to happen. And, I got this tip on a stock, because the guy was worth billions and billions of dollars. And, I don't know. It's just, there's so many things.
And those are legitimate questions to ask. It's as if we're supposed to leave our brains at the door when we think about politics. And that's the exact opposite of what we ought to be doing, especially with the bunch that is currently in power.
Right.
And in general, politics, you got to do that. I'll tell you, I'm reminded of a story because I've lived in lots of places. Every actress, singer, or whatever has to go to either LA or New York. And I went to both of them. I lived in LA. I couldn't wait to leave. Sorry, people who are from LA.
It's okay.
And there was a horrifying case in LA every afternoon at 4:00 when I lived in it. I didn't live there as long as I did in New York. Every afternoon at 4:00, they'd interrupt little child cartoons, I heard later, to show the latest car chase that was on television happening in real time. And there was a guy who stopped traffic at the intersection of 3 different highways. And it was a horrible, horrible thing. He shot himself and his dog. Like, why do you have to shoot the dog too? All on real-time television because he was so angry at HMOs. I will never forget that.
Well, it's the things that are just, etched in your mind sometimes that you just can't get rid of,
You cannot. Yeah. That's what comes from living a while.
Right.
You develop more of these as you get older.
All right. So I think we're done with that.
Okay.
Now let's talk about what you brought up there. Preemptive pardons. Somebody asked Joe Biden to preemptively pardon people like, General Mark Milley, Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and
Nancy Pelosi.
and Anthony Fauci. So
Anthony Fauci.
Don't they understand that now you're admitting that they did something that they would need pardons?
Of course they do.
Why are they stupid?
They're not as bright as we give them credit, but they ain't stupid.
Yeah.
No. They got a capital C. It's called chutzpah. That's what it is. They're leaving office. They don't care. They don't care. It's obvious. Now, the people on their bandwagon are going to find a ridiculous rationalization for it, but it's like painfully obvious. The one that, they all hurt. They all hurt that they can do that and get away with it. I hope that there are legal, options beyond that, like they said with Hunter. But the Anthony Fauci one, he committed atrocities.
Yeah. And lied to Congress.
Yeah.
You know?
Once upon a time, we thought that was a bad thing.
Right. It used to be a thing, perjury. Not anymore.
Exactly.
Depending upon if you're a Republican or Democrat. But one name on that list I wanted to embellish on or expand on your answer, Mr. Chichi.
Expand on your answer.
You know, when they tell me to
Well,
push
I
a
told
button
him push
out
a button on a guy. Push a button.
You mean you kill people at the behest of? All right, let's not get into that.
Sorry.
But Mark Milley, General Milley, I
Yes.
think, and you know, I'm Mr. Conspiracy guy. I don't care, but I think he's a Chinese asset, right? Because before Donald Trump was out of office, he calls a general in China and says, "Oh, if Trump's going to bomb you, I'll let you know." Isn't that treason right there?
There are so many examples of treason, but we're not allowed to say the T word, are we?
Well, we'll say it.
It's treason when one of your main jobs is to keep the American people safe from foreign invasion, and this administration or who's ever directing it goes out of their way to invade this country.
So if that
open
enough,
our borders,
right.
Just open them up to anybody.
If that wasn't enough, then when the spy balloon goes over the United States, he waits till it goes over all these military installations, goes all the way to the East Coast, and then shoots it down. Why would that be? In my home, in my bedroom, where my wife sleeps, where my children play with their toys.
My wife and my children sleep.
So I don't know. It's preemptive pardons. Okay, so why? Because Adam Schiff is another one who had evidence that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, and that's just okay.
Well, this is all they have left to sweep this thing under the rug. It's been on the rug for anyone to see for years now, but that's all they have left really to try and quash. And then when the Republicans or even just liberty-minded people try to bring that up, they'll say, "Oh, that's old news. He's been pardoned. Don't talk about it."
Right. I don't know.
We know their tactics. Their tactics are so obvious. Didn't you find like salt was being poured on your wounds when one of the explanations for why Biden pardoned Hunter was because it was a politically motivated?
Right.
I mean, now that we need a new Yiddish word. Chutzpah doesn't really quite do it, does it?
No, it's called that's toy.
That's not Jewish. Well, I guess you know what? It could be Jewish if you say Ed's toy.
Maybe we just got to say and Italianize it and say Supremo Chutzpah.
Supremo Chutzpah. Combine the two languages. I love it.
Exactly.
December 23rd. That lovely lady you're listening to right now is going to do this show from 9 to 11. Karen, can't thank you enough for doing it. We already told the people to make sure they call you and talk to you because everybody can't wait to hear
I'm
from
looking
you.
forward to it. Ought to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Karen.
When I watch that video of that guy shooting that CEO, my mind just races, Ken. It just races. The gun had a suppressor, or what we used to call a silencer.
Right.
Right. How many people just have a silencer for their gun?
They're not. I think they're illegal.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Number two.
Which means, guns are illegal for people who shouldn't own them. But I'm saying they're very difficult to get. I guess what I'm saying.
And the lady in the video from all the way on the right, she scoots. She doesn't want to be involved in this. She doesn't want to get shot. And the guy doesn't care. That lady was not his target.
Right.
He shoots. His gun jams. He starts racking it so that, a couple of live rounds actually fell out of the gun, and then continues to shoot the CEO of United Healthcare. I don't know. It's just so wacky, but we'll find out. And we'll see if they'll even ever find this guy, Ken.
Right.
All right, listen. This year, it's Wow Diamonds and a Wow Diamonds Christmas with Newstedter's Fine Jewelers. Go to NewstalkSTL right now and register, and you could win a $500 gift certificate from Newstedter's just in time for the holidays. The winner will be announced on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show December 10th. I'm getting a haircut that day, by the way. And you can visit Newstedter's at 2961 Darty Ferry Road in Kirkwood or at wowdiamonds.com. Chat box is next. Get in there if you got it. On 1019 and 94.1 Newstalk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Well, you're just widening that window at the dry hump, right?
Anytime I can.
Anytime you can, because it is a clear day and there's some dry humping going on somewhere. Listen, Dr. John says everything you need to really kind of spice things up, okay? If you are, coming up on the holidays, what about, ladies, getting yourself a like Mrs. Santa suit, right? Real short, right? They'll have it at Dr. John's, I'm telling you, because they understand it's part of life. It's fun, right? It's fun what you do with your spouse or the person you live with, or I don't know, anybody. But they have a full assortment of everything, including male and female enhancement supplies, novelties, lingerie. I will bet you can go in there and find yourself a Mrs. Santa Claus suit, right? And real short one. Videos, oils, lubes, and more. If you're looking for something out of the ordinary, and you'll say, nobody will have that. I'd love to surprise my wife. I'd love to surprise my husband with this. If you're looking for something out of the ordinary, Dr. John's has you covered, okay? They're your one-stop shop destination to fulfill all your fantasies and add some zing to your love life. Like right after you put up the tree and it looks so nice. Hey, how you doing, baby? Right? And then you watch a movie or something and you have some fun, a little cardio. Make an appointment to see the doctor and tell him News Talk STL sent you when you see Dr. John's.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Tim Jones here. For lunchtime, Capriati's cannot be beat, and I love the grilled chicken parmesan at Capriati's. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Wellington Environmental knows that many are struggling this time of year. Wellington is an advisor to the Salvation Army Gateway Citadel, and they have a way to get more people involved. Bell ringers are really needed, and they have some great spots open in South County. Wellington will help schedule for you. So if you can give an hour, maybe two, this Christmas season, ringing a bell is fun and uplifting. You sign up 6 or more to ring for an hour, Wellington Environmental will make a customized sign on top of the bell, and you can put your family name, your team, your company, all for free. Great opportunity to help out others this Christmas. Contact Wellington, 314-644-4930, 644-4930, or WellingtonSTL.com. With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Speak with Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Contact Benjamin at memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial, everlasting protection.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility
News, analysis, and opinion.
to provide updated guidance
At 1019, 941, and NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hey y'all, this is Killer Bees, world famous comedian. You are listening to my brand new dad, Vic Porcelli, on News Talk STL.
I love that.
Oh yeah, I'm not wearing pants.
I don't like that, but
Killer Bees? Is that his
yeah,
name?
Killer Bees.
One of my favorite jokes of his is he says, aren't there any ugly babies? There's got to be some ugly babies out there, right? And then he sees people with a baby that is ugly, and you say, wow, what a beautiful stroller. Is that a Graco? All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being with us. We're going to talk to Mark Mix coming up, and we sent him a picture of some kids from the past playing Buck, which is
Here, I'll post that right now.
Yeah, put that up, and then we'll explain the game and explain why when Mark says a piece of paper, somebody threw a piece of paper on top of me.
It'll be up there in a second.
That's at 9:41. Nate Lucas, direct from U.S. Representative Eric Burlison's office at 10:05. The DELI at 10:25. And Tim Jones we're gonna finish up the show with Tim Jones.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Right.
Anything. There you go. There's Buck right up there. All right, Ken, let's check the chat box. get ourselves moving here. Tom starts us off with good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Tom. GMFFVH, Barbara. Love it when Karen joins in. The three of you are simply the best. What about when it's just me and Ken? We're not simply the best then? I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Dave Stouffer, there he is. Whoosh and happy Deli Day. It's December 5th. 46 days. In 46 days, 46 is out. The end of the era. And 47 takes over. 45 and 47. Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump. Thank you very much. Vic, I did not start the separation in Illinois or even Madison County. I'm just a big mouth that ran with it. But don't you understand how important that is, Dave? You can be humble, but you did plenty. You were the one who
brought it to our attention.
Yes. Announced it to a wider audience. So good job. Good morning, News Talk STL family and friends. Thank you, Kathleen. Good morning, Vic Heads. Thanks for being. Oh, that's you, Ken. Good Thursday morning, freedom fighting Vic Heads. Happy Deli Day. Thanks. Being wholesome programming for mainstream television viewing. No more crime, murder, etc. And you will see people become more wholesome and kind-hearted instead of what they see on TV programming these days, because the TV shows they air are programming. They will either programming for good or they're programming for bad. Yeah, Kathleen, I get you. I do. Phil Valencia, the brainchild behind your SR1 Sunday nights with Nick Schroer and Danny Define. He says Karen is cool, and he writes Karen with a cool with a K. It's interesting that he left those rounds on the ground and threw his coffee cup away and took a GPS tracked scooter. Why haven't we found this guy? Good morning, gents and fellow Vic Heads. Have a great day, everyone. Good morning, Chief. Oh, that's from Ken. Because Scott said Bush, brother. Whoosh, my brothers. Over to Rumble we go. Good morning, Vic Heads. No video or audio. God, Ed is like up our ass, man. There we go. That's what he said, because we got it. Okay. Sometimes we get it behind a little bit. First couple of minutes aren't on the stream, but we're working on it. Love Blue Blood. CBS canceled it because it's too family and too pro-police. Oh, wow. I pledge allegiance to the United States, flag of the United States of America, no fair exchange. No fair elections.
No peace.
No peace. I think we're done with the election.
Yeah.
Peace?
Well, no, because they didn't. I don't think they did it right.
So there were
186 votes, and they waited almost a month.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. President Trump, he'll fix this country. You bet. Took 4 weeks to count votes. That's what you're saying. Ed's saying what you're saying. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Never did like that song. I didn't hate it, but now I love it because Donald Trump has made it a Trump dance thing. Good morning, all you MAGA, ultra-patriotic, deplorable, Garbagian, freedom-fighting, God-fearing Vic Head weirdos. Jesus, Ed, can you make that any longer? Karen, how you doing? We have watched Blue Bloods from the beginning. Sad to see it end. I've never watched one episode of Blue Bloods, and now I feel stupid.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, but it was only because it was on the network. I don't watch a lot of network stuff. Network television.
Not even like the cooking shows, like Gordon Ramsay and stuff?
No.
Hell's Kitchen.
Not a whole lot.
We don't miss an episode of Hell's Kitchen or MasterChef. And now we're watching this stupid crime scene kitchen show.
I just don't patronize them, Vic.
Okay,
I really don't.
Stop yelling at me.
I've got apps. I got apps.
So in theory, Joe can just give pardons to everyone in the country? There was a post on X that Keith Olbermann put up, and he said, yes, you should pardon everybody, every reporter, everybody who hates Trump. You should pardon them all. And some guy replied to him and said, don't you realize you're saying that all those people committed a crime that they would need a pardon? Do you think before you post? He doesn't. Keith Olbermann, he doesn't think.
I think it's a disgrace. I think we need to devote a whole segment to why he did that. I really do.
Why Joe
Biden did it for his son, and the reason and the way he did it, the wide sweeping blanket pardon that he did.
Not to mention do it and then hightail him out of town.
And then threaten that he's going to do it for Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Liz Cheney, all the people from the J6 committee.
Don't forget Dr. Fauci.
And Dr. Fauci of all of them.
Senator Paul, you don't know what you're talking about. Apparently, there's a link to a lawsuit against, UHC, and Nancy's name is involved.
Oh, good.
Insider trading and Nancy Pelosi, synonymous international terms. Not international. I'm sorry. I need more coffee.
Well, her family right now is up to like $250 million in value. And okay, her husband's involved in finance, but she's the one who gets the information and gives it to him.
Yeah. Ed says, I read that she sold stock last February in the company investigating UHC.
Oh, okay.
UHC makes a lot of money from the government, paying them stipends for the Medicare Advantage plans, the ones that you see commercials for on TV all the time.
Yeah.
If you watch network television.
If you did.
UHC has been sued over the Medicare Advantage plan and denials of claims. Fingers too cold for Chad. Hey, Strofe, where are you? Chatting from outside? I had UHC Choice Plus for years with zero issues, but then the ACA came into being, the Obamacare.
Affordable, quote unquote, Affordable Care Act.
And they pulled out. Yeah, Affordable Care Act. Sorry, can't afford it.
Yeah, I know.
And then they pulled out. I used Essence with my Medicare now. So, I don't know. I mean, it's weird that he wrote on the bullets, Ken. It's weird. Isn't it weird that he wrote on the bullets?
It's weird.
I don't know if we're going to find out ever about it.
I'm not weird. You're weird. You guys are being so weird.
Why me? Why not the guy who shot this guy? Being weird right now.
Weird how?
Weird. I'll tell you. Deny, depose, and defend were written on the live rounds and casings that were left behind in the shooting.
That's weird.
What is
Weird. Really weird.
Ken just shook his head and said, that's weird.
Hey, Alex is on the phone from Barnhart.
Oh, Alex. Hi. How are you, buddy?
Hello there. How's the team doing? Are you guys hanging in there?
We're good. Good till the week of Christmas. Then we're flying away not flying away, but it's not. Well, we're off for a week.
Hey, I wanted to say something about the young lady there, the Jewish young lady who seemed to want to bring up the subject of treason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I wanted to give her and everybody a way to better understand treason.
Sure.
And it comes from a book that sold over 7 million copies.
Okay.
So the expression is, treason doth never prosper. What's the reason? For if it prosper, none dare call it treason.
That is so deep.
No kidding.
Oh my God, I feel like I just went to church. Holy cow.
Well, it's the religion of the true mind.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and this book, the book itself is called None Dare Call It Treason. It's written by a guy by the name of John Stormer, and he was living in Florissant in the last few years of his life.
Oh, wow.
John Stormer?
Yeah. You might be familiar with that. I mean, it did sell 7 million copies. He actually did two books. He did the original None Dare Call It Treason, and then in the 1990s, he did a book called None Dare Call It Treason 25 years later.
How about that?
Let's go ahead and check and see how accurate he was, and he was.
Yeah.
People were calling about the infiltration of communism and all that. I mean, they were calling it years ago.
Right.
The warnings were there.
And we ignored them.
The media,
Alex.
of course.
We ignored it.
The media was already infiltrated. I hate to tell you.
Exactly right. All right, Alex. Hey, thank you so much for giving us a call.
Okay,
We appreciate you very much.
Hey, thanks for listening, Alex.
That was an interesting thought.
Yeah, pretty deep, but it's true though. I mean, if you think about the way he said it, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. President of the National Right to Work Committee. His name is Mark Mix, frequent contributor to the show. He thinks that the pick for labor secretary is not a good one. He knows about work. Mark's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
I have a theory. People talk loud when they want to act smart, right? Correct!
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Larry Connors, USA.
The latest on the assassination of the CEO of United Healthcare, shot down in Manhattan.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
As you know, Vincent's is not just my favorite jeweler. Vincent's is my only jeweler. And I was in recently looking at lab-grown diamonds. These are not glass. They are actual diamonds, but they cost a fraction of a natural diamond. You can check them out at Vincent's.com, or better yet, see these lab-grown diamonds in person. You're going to be amazed at the beauty and the price. Vincent's Jewelers, Vincent'sJewelers.com.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020, or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hey, everybody, this is Joe Mackey. You may know me from Gutfeld as the hot one and the funny one. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL 101.9 and 94.1, or 94.1 and 101.9. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Joe Mackey, the handsome one. He was great when he was in. He said he'd come back and see us again. All right, good morning. I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ken Williams over there. And so our next guest, I realized we've talked to him so many times. And early on in our conversations, I realized he was a fan of Bill Cosby albums and records, and specifically Buck Buck. And Mark Mix joins us. He's the president of the Right to Work Committee. You like that picture we sent you, huh?
Vic, where in the world did you find that? I'm surprised YouTube hasn't banned that for some reason. But anyway, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It's up on our stream now, Mark.
Everybody's looking at it. So
that little guy on top, that's the piece of paper.
There's a piece of paper on top of me. This is before Fat Albert came.
Yeah. Mothers pulling children off the street.
Right.
The whole bit.
I haven't listened to that in so long. But, Bill Cosby, George Carlin, I used to listen to their albums and memorize them and then do them for my friends. If we ever went out together, with Vic, do George Carlin, do Bill Cosby, and Buck Buck. So in case you're not watching and just listening, Buck Buck is a game where one kid puts his hand against the wall or a fence, and then his friends, his team, all put their hands around each other's waist, making a line. And then the other team has to jump on top of them. And you have to see how many guys can jump on top of them before breaking. And then they would win the game if they broke the horse, so to speak, right? Because they used to call it Johnny on the Pony, too, or Buck Buck.
Yeah,
so
that's right. You got it.
We did that just for you, Mark Mix, just so you know.
Thank you. Well, that was very nice of you. And I'll have to go back and listen to it again. I think I still have that album. It was in 1968 or something like that.
I know I was young, so I don't know.
Yeah, amen.
All right, so let's talk about Donald Trump's pick for Labor Secretary, Representative Lori Chavez DeRaymer. You are not happy with this pick. Tell us why.
Right. That's not funny. This is because she is one of 3 Republicans that co-sponsored a bill called the PRO Act. Vic, Ken, we've talked about this before. This is a bill that the federal government, if it passed, would repeal all of the right to work laws that have been passed by 26 states across the country. Secondarily, it basically eliminates the secret ballot election for union certification. It changes the definition of independent contractors and employees. It's got a lot of miserable things in it, and she's one of 3 that co-sponsored this bill. And that really is disqualifying in our view because of the her position that says she believes workers should be forced to pay union dues or fees to get or keep a job in America.
So how did this happen? How did Donald Trump pick her? If you know all this off the top of your head.
Well, look, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters Union, spoke at the RNC, and somehow that speech, even though it was a socialist Marxist speech attacking the very substance of the American enterprise system, it has somehow turned out to be this relationship between Sean O'Brien and Donald Trump. And the story is that we're hearing is that he called Donald Trump and said this was the person he wanted, and if Trump would nominate her, this would prove that he was truly for working class people. The fact is, Vic, you know this. I mean, he didn't run on empowering union officials. He ran on empowering working Americans.
Right.
That includes union members. It includes non-union members. It was a simple campaign on policy issues where he said, secure the border, let's fight crime, let's reduce the size of government, let's reduce taxes, let's reduce regulation. And the American people said, we'll accept that. He didn't say, I think if you elect me, I want to force every worker in America to join unions and pay dues. He didn't say that. But yet somehow he's got to pay off the union officials because guess what? The Teamsters didn't endorse his opponent. That's the hook. They were so good that they just didn't endorse the Democrat opponent, Kamala Harris, even though two of the biggest Teamster local joint councils in America spent lots of money trying to defeat Donald Trump. As Sean O'Brien said, the Teamsters spent over $15 million supporting Democrats in just this last year. So anyway, it's a surprise to us.
Hey, Mark and Vic, I just want to let you guys know that listener Mike was actually the one who brought this to my attention. I was starting to read about it, Trump's nominees, and then Mike brought it to our attention. So I want to say thanks to Mike.
All right, so let's get back to Sean O'Brien because, I mean, Sean O'Brien and Shawn Fain, right? They're presidents of two of the most powerful unions in this country. They both admitted that their rank and file overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump, yet Shawn Fain decided to endorse Kamala Harris. Sean O'Brien didn't endorse anybody, which I think is, when the Teamsters president doesn't endorse you, you're a terrible Democratic president. But I think I don't know why they just don't get it. Are they so tied to that D that they have to do it that way?
Well, I think so. I mean, obviously, organized labor and the power that union officials have over workers and over certain industries, in this case, is a product of government action. So going all the way back to the 1930s, Vic, when they first decided, actually the 1920s, when unions lobbied for what's called the Railway Labor Act, they finally decided that, hey, this government thing's a lot easier than going out and selling a product. We can get the government to basically give us the privilege of forcing people to associate with us, and then to add insult to injury, force them to pay dues for forced association. That's a pretty good business model. And so from that time forward, union officials have had to play politics. They've had to be involved, whether it's in the state legislature, the school board, the county commission. They have to because their power is a derivative of government action. Only 6% of the private sector workforce today is unionized or union members. And we know from a Gallup poll that about 65% have no interest at all in even contemplating unionization. So the idea that somehow Shawn Fain, who, to your point, Vic, admitted that the great majority of his members were not going to be voting for Joe Biden when they endorsed him back in January, and Sean O'Brien, who said when they internally polled Teamster members, 62% of them said they were going to vote for Donald Trump. It's amazing that somehow, they earn some special privilege or special, nomination from President Trump.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of the most entertaining moments of the year this year was when Sean O'Brien was testifying in front of a Senate committee, and he and Senator Mark Wayne Miller don't get along. Mullen,
yeah.
I'm sorry. And they almost went at it. I mean, literally almost went at it. And I know that Sean O'Brien thinks he's a tough guy, but Mark Wayne Mullen is like a martial arts expert, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go at it. And then Bernie Sanders is the chairman of the committee. Stop it. You're a U.S. Senator. Stop that right now. And it was just one of the most entertaining moments of the year.
Yeah. Well, I testified in the first hearing where round one occurred, where they actually started jawing with each other, and they didn't go. I was at the table. I was between Sean O'Brien and Mark Wayne Mullen.
Wow.
And there were a couple of Teamster guys sitting behind him, and I was ready to bail out. Vic, look, I'm the mosquito in Buck Buck. I'm the piece of paper in Buck Buck. That's me.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, we're talking to Mark Mex, president of the Right to Work Committee. Why is it because when Democrats or anybody says something, you have to try to say why. Now, why are they saying that? What is with the hatred for right to work? What's the problem?
Well, it forces union officials to go back out and sell a product to the American worker. And union officials have created a narrative that says somehow if you're free to choose whether or not you want to support us, that's somehow anti-union. It's not anti-union. You know, the union density in several right-to-work states is greater than it is in non-right-to-work states. And that's because union officials kind of pull their reins in a little bit when they start taking these radical views, because they know that workers can say, you know what, I don't appreciate that. I don't agree with that. So I'm going to withhold my financial support. It's really, really simple. And like I said, no right to work law stops anyone from joining a union, from paying their entire paycheck to a union if they choose to do so. It just gives the individual worker the freedom. So the narrative about right to work is somehow it's going to destroy everything, that you'll have constant halitosis, schools roofs will buckle, potholes will appear in the road. But the bottom line is about individual freedom and individual liberty. And that is offensive to guys like Sean O'Brien and Sean Fain and Randy Weingarten. And it appears to be offensive to Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri as well. You know, he's the guy that says, I would never impose right to work on anyone. And yet he's now said that this Lori Chavez DeRemer is a great nominee. In fact, she wants to impose unionization. Get this, Vic. Get this, Ken. She co-sponsored a bill that would allow the federal government to impose unionization on all government employees at the state level. Literally impose unionization on every employee at the state level. Josh Hawley thinks that's just fine. He tells everyone to relax. It's all going to be okay.
That just sounds so counter to what the American people would want. And it just surprises me that Donald Trump would nominate somebody like that. It just, I mean, like Vic said, I mean, why would he do that?
Yeah. I can't explain it. That's inexplicable. Donald Trump, if anyone can explain Donald Trump, I'm interested to hear that. That is, Vic, maybe you have a hypothesis about this. I don't know, but he's his own man, and I think he wants to support working Americans. He believes he connected with ordinary people, ordinary working Americans, and somehow, the demographic designation now is different between working people and union people. I mean, they divide these people. We're all the same. We're all working class. We're all working people. And we believed in the policies that Donald Trump articulated on the campaign trail. That's why people voted for him, not because he's doing favors for Sean O'Brien, or Sean O'Brien non-endorsement of him caused working men and women to say, yeah, we're for Donald Trump now.
And when I say it's counter to what American people in general think, is because, I think that the American people want a choice. Give the option of both and let them choose,
That makes perfect sense, Ken, but that's the problem. It makes perfect sense. So, yeah.
I just can't believe how many occupations in this country are unionized. If you go to the supermarket, almost everybody who works there is in the union, right? I remember we were doing, when I was doing the morning show at the River, we had there were 3 big supermarkets here in St. Louis, Mark. They were all on strike, and we played little games, to do with it. So we played a game called "Is There a Striker Named Stanley?" And we sent Jake out in the picket line to find some. And if we found one named Stanley, he won a prize or something stupid. And then it was fall when this happened, and we said, let's do some drive-by leafings, just for somebody to rake their leaves and put them in a bag and do it for them for nothing, just because we like them. And so we found a bagger from the grocery store who was on strike. That's what he does, right?
Right.
He bags things,
right?
Right. And I don't know, it was just fun. But I can't believe how many occupations in this country nurses are even unionized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're actually ended up on college campuses now. You got a basketball team at Dartmouth University that's now unionized. I don't know how that's going to play out, whether they can decide not to play a game or show up for the jump ball at the beginning of the first, the whistle. But we've got graduate assistants across the country. In fact, half of the United Auto Workers Union members in this country, Vic, Ken, are basically graduate students in the California school system. There are as many graduate students and higher education students that are UAW members, and there are actually auto workers in the automotive business now.
Wow.
It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And I know I've said this before, Mark. The way that I found out about right to work was that the right to work supports a union member, doesn't support the union member to have their money go to people who support issues that they don't agree with, and I was like, oh well, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
a good thing. And somehow I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That's one of the injustices of forced unionism is the forced political conformity that comes with it. Because even though we won a Supreme Court case in 1988, we litigated a case called Beck versus Communication Workers of America that basically was predicated on that very point, Vic, that this guy, a telephone lineman for the Bell Atlantic phone system, was forced to support candidates and ideas that he didn't want. He brought it up to the union and said, too bad, if you don't pay, you don't work. We took him all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. He got his half hour of oral arguments, and the Supreme Court said, yeah, well, he's right. Harry Beck is right. We shouldn't be allowing a private organization to take money from someone as a condition of their employment and using it for things that are outside the bargaining unit, outside of everything that the union claims they're doing, and are purely political in nature. Unfortunately, what he had to do in order to exercise that right to protect his political rights, he had to give up his workplace rights, because in order to protect his political rights, he had to resign from the union. If he resigns from the union, he can't vote on the contract that governs the conditions of employment. He can't reform the union from the inside by running for office. He can't vote on anything that has to do with the union. He can't even go to the union hall for the beer blast. So it was a Hobson's choice for many workers. Either you keep your workplace rights and give up your political rights, or keep your political rights and give up your workplace rights. That's not a solution. The solution is take away the forced financial conformity that comes from the 1935 law and let the workers choose, as Ken said. Let them choose. If they want to support the union, they can. Nothing stops anyone from paying the union or associating with the union in any way, shape, or form. In fact, the federal law protects it.
And as a private citizen, I mean, this is just an example, but I don't subscribe to AARP. It's AMAC, because AARP has far left lobbyists, right? And so I just choose not to give my money there. And that's kind of the same thing.
It's very related. I think it's very related.
Yeah. Well, it is. And, the unions always use the argument, said, well, you have to pay your taxes. You can't not pay your tax. Well, that's government. And we, as citizens of the United States of America, following the Constitution, have given certain rights to government. The right of force, limited force, albeit, hopefully, but they are the one institution that can say, yeah, there's this compulsion, there's this force. Private organizations don't deserve that. They shouldn't have it. And frankly, they shouldn't want it, because if they're really selling something that people want, people will buy it. What is the movie? Build it and they will come. I mean, it just makes sense. Sell a product, focus on the shop floor, focus on the workplace, focus on the people you're representing, get out of the political business and go forward. And people will gladly support you.
It's funny that I always try to be funny. I don't know whether I always succeed or not, but I try to always be funny. And whenever I'm not getting my way, I always say, I'm going to file a grievance with the union, even if it's something stupid, like, the snack area doesn't have peanuts. Well, I'm going to file a grievance with the union, because it's almost that ridiculous, right?
Well, that's right. And interesting enough about the whole grievance process, that's a whole nother issue. And you'll have to come up with another cartoon to draw me back there. But the whole grievance procedure, the union has total control of the grievance procedure. They can decide whether or not a grievance goes forward, goes to the next stage. And if you're not a union member, well, they'll say, well, we don't think that grievance is worthy of going forward. And frankly, Vic, Ken, any grievance that's brought in a workplace is actually a dispute about what the contract says. So if an employer decides to say, oh, Vic's right, the candy machine needs to be updated, we're going to put healthy snacks in there, all of a sudden the union files an unfair labor practice charge against your boss, because it's saying you didn't negotiate with us about that. And candy machines are part of the contract. And if you don't negotiate with us about it, you can't have it.
Wow.
And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Next time we talk, Mark, I want to talk more about unions having a mob relationship, and also I'm going to listen to Buck, and we'll talk about that. You enjoyed that picture he put up there for you, right? You like that?
I love
it.
Sir. Thank you. I know you're thinking about me.
Always, Mark. always. Mark Mix, president of the Right to Work Committee. We'll talk next time, okay, buddy?
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's hear some news. Then we're back. What's that?
Take care.
Yeah, he's good. On 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh. Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Hi, Sean Long with STL Fence Works. Our company realized another extraordinary year of great business. I thank God for engineering our success and for this great nation and all the blessings it offers those who persevere and work hard. Second, I want to personally thank the great customers who put their faith in our company to make their home and backyard dreams a vision fulfilled. STL Fenceworks doesn't exist without you, and I'm humbled and grateful for your patronage. I also want to thank all my great employees. You're the backbone of STL Fenceworks. You make my vision a reality. I'm truly honored to work amongst such fine people. Finally, as the year ends, I want to remind everyone to take time to enjoy the season. Embrace your family and friends, count the blessings in your life. Reflect on the important things, and don't forget the true meaning of Christmas. When a baby was born, Jesus, our Savior. On behalf of everyone at STL Fenceworks, have a very Merry Christmas and a blessed and prosperous New Year.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Or from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It's beginning to look a lot like winter in some parts of the country.
A powerful cold front sweeping down from the Arctic overnight is bringing snow showers, gusty wind, and lower than normal temperatures across the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and the Northeast from Maine to Washington, D.C. The National Weather Service warns that intense bursts of heavy snowfall could produce dangerous travel conditions with ice and whiteouts, as well as power outages. There's a blizzard warning for the West Virginia mountains from Snowshoe up to Garrett County, with a forecast of 5 to 8 inches and winds gusting to 65 miles per hour. And Erie, Pennsylvania, with its lake effect snow, could see 10 to 18 inches today, with even higher amounts south of I-90. I'm Jennifer King.
Congress hears today from Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. President-elect Trump has put them in charge of finding ways to make government more efficient, more cost-effective. They'll be paying a visit to Capitol Hill. President-elect Trump's appeal to Mexico to crack down on the deadly drug trade may already be bearing fruit. The Mexican military has seized more than 1 ton of fentanyl pills.
It was found in 2 raids in the north in what officials are calling the biggest catch of the synthetic opioid in the country's history. The raids came after a sharp drop in fentanyl seizures in Mexico earlier this year and days after President-elect Trump threatened to impose 25% tariffs on products from Canada and Mexico unless they crack down on the flow of migrants and drugs across the border. The fentanyl raids took place in the northern state of Sinaloa, home to the drug cartel of the same name. Keith Peters reporting.
Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe testifying before a House panel today, talking about efforts to reform the agency following the Trump assassination attempt in western Pennsylvania in July. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is down 92 points, the NASDAQ Composite Index off 15, and the S&P 6 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-9534. That's 800-298-9534. 800-298-9534.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
blast of cold Canadian air has arrived. Single-digit wind chills this morning, just a meager warm-up this afternoon. It'll take us to about 26 for the high. Winds will gradually weaken, though, which means the wind chill slowly becomes less of a factor. That's a good thing because tonight looks even colder. Overnight lows around 17. But then sunny Friday and milder highs around 39. Weekend warm-up still on track. Highs should be in the 50s on Saturday and Sunday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, another great hour of radio coming your way, courtesy of Ken Williams. Gives me 5 days
and Vic Porcelli
for 1 2-hour show. I couldn't do it without you, though. That's the point.
Thanks, man.
Dave Stouffer, what's happening, baby? How many days till the end of the era?
Whoosh, my brother. 46 days left for 46.
Well, whoosh, my brother. So, what?
A conspiracy theory. You know I love these things.
Yeah.
You've got the crackhead just got pardoned. I'm looking forward to another round of pardons. They're talking about Fauci and Schiff and all the dirt bags involved there, but I kind of look for one for Kamala in exchange for 45 stepping down in the last couple of days of his presidency, so she can pardon him and they exonerate each other.
46.
Yeah, 46.
Yeah. Biden stepping down after he pardons Kamala, or even tries to pardon himself.
Right. So, by the way, pardoning yourself is not exactly constitutional. Nobody's ever done it. Not one president's ever done it. But I just wanted to say that I'll be damned if I remember. That's what I was going to say because I don't remember anything.
Dave, I wouldn't put anything past this administration at this point.
At this point, there's not a thing that is out of reach or not possible for them to try. They've stooped so low, so far, so long that now they're in the throes of their nail biting. They know it's coming.
Right.
The axe it's hanging over their head and it's ready to fall.
All right, Dave.
So they're going to try anything and everything.
We got to run, but I want to say before we go, I'm a big fan of humility, but I hadn't heard anybody talk about this secession thing until you. So in my head, you're the one who started it. Okay.
Well, that's because I got a big mouth, Vic. That's all there is.
Hey, we're the big mouth twins, you and me. You kidding me?
Yeah, brother.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much.
Wash my brother.
Wash my Illinois brother. You bet. All right, let's go to Washington, D.C. from the office of U.S. Representative Eric Burlison, the one and only Nate Lucas. And Nate, I found out that you are doing this show on December 27th. Is that true?
That is true. I was so honored to be asked by the great Jeff Allen if I would fill in while the Christmas break. I'll be back in St. Louis, and I'm excited. You know how much I love doing this show, and I don't ever shut up. So 2 hours, I'll just be yapping the whole time.
So, right. All right. So let's talk about, Nate, the big story right now, I think, is this CEO of United Healthcare getting gunned down gangland style in New York City. And by the way, I guess I mentioned that he was worth more. Brian Thompson was worth more than he actually is. I said I thought he was worth billions because he makes $10 million a year.
It's quite a bit. How
could he only be worth $42.9 million with all his investments? That's just his salary, $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've looked it up, and a couple of sources did say that he's worth $42 million. Still a lot of money. So anyway, is there anybody quaking in their boots about this? Because he was under investigation by the DOJ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think we have even begun to scratch the surface on the details of this. Look, it's a very chilling video.
I
don't care if he was the worst human being in the world. I mean, to watch a guy in an assassin type, move, shoot him, and then have the gun apparently jam and then fire again and ultimately kill the guy. It's really tragic. But I suspect that we will learn more about maybe some of his off the record stuff in the coming days. And I know the manhunt is still ongoing for this guy, but I mean, just to see that piece of video alone, like once you watch it, you really can't unsee it. It was, I don't know, I guess that's New York in a nutshell for you. You can feel like you're walking down the road, and then all of a sudden you got a guy with a silenced pistol behind you, and you are gone, baby, gone.
Yeah. And the thing about it, Nate, is that first of all, Ken, I want to tell you, we called it an assassination yesterday. Right away we called this is not just a murder, this is an assassination.
Yes.
And so the couple of conspiracy theories, I guess, if you want to call them that. One was, if this guy, I think this guy was hired one way or another. I don't think this was like this guy's mother died because because UHC wouldn't approve any medicines. I think whoever did this hired this guy, or he's being investigated by the DOJ. Insider trading, that term comes up, and when you hear about insider trading, sorry to tell you, you start thinking about people in Congress, Nate.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's one of the reasons why this whole body of government got so freaked out when Trump nominated Matt Gaetz, because one of the things that he seemingly was going to kind of key on was insider trading with Congress. I mean, look, it's a bizarre thing when you have representatives that make a good salary, somewhere around like $175,000 a year, but then you start looking at their assets, and they have multiple homes, they drive really nice vehicles. I mean, it seems to be a life of luxury that these people end up having. And then when you stick around like Nancy Pelosi for 40 plus years, it seems like their wealth just continues to grow. There's a famous Twitter profile that kind of monitors all of Nancy Pelosi's public trading. And it's a fascinating thread to just go through, and you think to yourself, wow, how are they getting this kind of information? And then when you think about like the green energy scam, look at how many Democrats have a vested interest in many of these companies that are getting federal contracts. And the kickbacks there, it makes you wonder, is the Democrats' war truly on fossil fuels, or is it about shifting our energy grid to something where they have a vested interest? And I think the latter is probably more accurate.
And you know what, Nate? The founding fathers, I know the Democrats hate to hear about the founding fathers, but what they drew up as a Congress and a Senate is not what's happening today. I think the entire country has forgotten that we don't work for them, they work for us.
Absolutely.
Including Representative Burlison.
Yeah, and that is one of the most concerning things, really, about how this government looks at the people in which they govern. And one of the great things about working for Congressman Burlison is that I genuinely think his heart lies in the 7th District in Missouri. Like, he is fighting for the people in Missouri. We are likely to get language approved coming up in a bill that's going to protect property owners on Table Rock Lake, where the Corps of Engineers are trying to say, oh, you built a septic tank or a deck that's like an inch or two close to Corps land, and therefore they're like threatening to tear this stuff down. And it's like, no, that's totally ridiculous. The hardship and the economic portion of all this after they had built these projects, it's like, that's why you have elected officials, to do these sorts of things, to make sure that government overreach isn't, extensive. And with all of the federal bureaucracies that have grown way too powerful, and then you've got people in Congress that seemingly want to scratch their own backs before they scratch the constituents that they're here to represent. It's truly, I don't know how else to say it. It's unlawful.
Yeah, it is unlawful.
Hey, Nate, I want to go behind the scenes a little bit, just if it's okay with you, Vic.
Yeah, man.
I can just kind of maybe change a little bit.
Yeah.
We only see little snippets of what the Congress people do in the U.S. government. Is your day just like full, and he's constantly running around, and you're constantly running around, or what is it? A lot of wait time, and then things go really fast, or what's it like behind the scenes?
Great question.
Yeah. That is a good question. I would say when we're in session, it's expect the unexpected, right? So, I mean, he's on 3 committees. He's on oversight, he's on transportation and infrastructure, and he's on education and the workforce. Now, this week in particular, as we get to the end of the 118th Congress, I think there was only one full committee hearing this week, and it was through like the U.S. Census Bureau, rather, and so I think that is later on this afternoon. But when we're in session and there's, multiple hearings, and he's preparing to question whoever they're bringing in to testify or witness testimony, I mean, those are pretty intense, I would say, briefings with our ledge staff. And then it's our job on the comm side to sort of facilitate the messaging. So take a bill and make it digestible for, somebody as dumb as me to comprehend what the hell exactly they're talking about. And then we try to spread that, because when you oh my gosh, if you've ever gone in and read like bill text, that is just brutal. I mean, you need you need a degree that I don't have to be able to comprehend that sort of thing. And I tried. I went to 4 schools in 4.5 years, and I've still yet to take a class that helps me understand bill text. But yeah, we're working with the congressman. I mean, we're recording podcasts. We're just we're booking media hits. So it's kind of like a flurry of things. And in the news cycle, as you guys know, you're kind of just a slave to whatever the news of the day is. And depending on if it's relevant to the work that he's trying to accomplish in Congress, we get quite a few media requests for the congressman to go on and share his message. But I got to tell you, there's so many greasy people in Washington, D.C. One of the greatest lines I heard was from Representative Barry Moore out of Alabama. And it was on a podcast, Fresh Freedom, in which he told Eric, he goes, the thing about the House Freedom Caucus, it's like the only time I leave a meeting or a dinner with my fellow representatives and I don't feel like I have to go take a shower afterwards. Wow. There are a lot of places where you feel like, wow, that's a dirty deal, and we're not doing the best we can for the people. And yet that's why I think among the 35 or 40 people who are in the House Freedom Caucus that the media loves to sort of stereotype as the far right wing, it's like, no, it's not far right wing. They're literally just trying to ensure that that little thing called the Constitution, that our representatives constantly neglect, is actually at the foundation for all of the work that we're doing to save the Republic.
Well, you sound like you're really in your wheelhouse, Nate, and you're just doing a great job, and you sound like you're having fun with it.
It is fun. I mean, it's still new to me. So I get kind of the hair on the back of my neck stands up every time that I just walk around and see these beautiful buildings. And then when you're in the Capitol, I think any red-blooded American, any true patriot, when you're in there, it's just like a hallmark of everything that this country stands for. And you get a sense of the people that created this government and their vision for it. And it's so sad, I think, to watch what the left in particular has done to undermine the founding fathers' vision for a sustainable, booming world great power. And that's why it's so frustrating, even more so than the Democrats, to see these rhinos try to upend whether it's Trump's cabinet picks or undermine, his first 100 days and bog it down with all sorts of obstacles. It's like the American people gave President Trump a mandate, and now it is the job of these elected officials, many of whom got pushed over the finish line, I might add, because of Donald Trump's influence and his endorsement of these candidates, and their payback to him is standing in his way. It's really gross, and it's kind of the shady side of government that we have to eradicate. And guess what? If they don't, then those buffoons will be primaried. And I think there is a long list of senators in particular that are up for re-election in 2026. And if they don't get things done in the next 2 years, we are going to see a massive change. And I truly think that'll be 2026 is a moment for this true movement, this new era of conservatism under Donald Trump's leadership to really take a hard place in Washington, D.C. And I can't wait, because there are so many senators and representatives for that reason, for that matter, that I think need a cleansing.
All right. Only a couple of minutes left, Nate, but let's talk about the pardon of Hunter Biden. I know that Democrats and Republicans in Congress and the Senate have even said, "What the hell are you doing, Joe?" What's the representatives' take on that pardon?
Well, so there's two things. One, I think everyone knew that this pardon was likely, even though between Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre, more than 10 times since June said that Hunter Biden would not be pardoned.
Yeah.
And I think the strange thing about it is that it's not just a pardon for the crimes that he's already been convicted of and was facing sentencing for, but the pardon goes all the way back nearly 11 years. It covers like 10 years and 11 months of anything that Hunter Biden could have been involved in. And I don't think this is the end of it. You guys were briefly talking about, Joe Biden pardoning himself. No president has done that. I think that's coming. I think Joe Biden is probably going to issue a pardon to his brother, Jim, for his business dealings. You talk about people getting rich off the American people, and the Biden crime syndicate is example A of that. I don't know how a guy who is dedicated in quotations his entire life to public service, 40-something years, is able to afford having, beachfront property on the beach in Rehoboth. It seems like he lives quite the life.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be nice if we had presidents who didn't get into this industry, public service, for their own enrichment, but rather to make sure that our government stayed in between the guardrails of what the Constitution allots. And we are so far gone from that in the last 4 years under this chaotic administration that I think we're all hoping and praying that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and the entire administration can course correct and only begin this new red wave moving forward. We have to do it.
Well, that's just one of the great things about Donald Trump is he can't be bought. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and I sort of cringe when he uses that line, like, I didn't have to do this, but I get where he's coming from. I mean, this guy has built an empire of several different businesses, and I don't know. I think Joe Rogan called it like a dystopian nightmare with how the media has just trashed this guy.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to him, I still think one of the most influential things that he did during the campaign was go on these various podcasts, and not just Joe Rogan, but Theo Vaughn. And there was a bunch of them that I think Dana White and even Barron Trump helped facilitate. And when you listen to this guy sit down and just give his vision for America, it's truly inspiring, and I think he's doing it for the right reasons. But if you were to ask a viewer of CNN or MSNBC or a listener of NPR about that, they would think, oh my gosh, you're in wacky Looney Tunes, and this guy is a traitor to the country, and it couldn't be anything clearer but the opposite.
Yeah. All right. So, Nate, the 27th of December, you're filling in for us doing the show. Have a lot of fun. There's one basic rule, though, we would like you to follow. And then here's that rule.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Don't you cuss on this here radio, Nate. You hear me?
Hey, you know what? Off air, I think y'all have been around me a bit. I can kind of sound like a sailor, but for whatever reason, when that red light goes on, I try to, well, for the most part, there may have been an incident or two. You can Google that, but for the most part, we keep it clean.
Yeah, we've got a dump button.
We try sometimes. All right, Nate. Hey, give our best to the representative. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
I will. Vic, and always a pleasure, guys.
I see, Nate.
Don't miss that one either.
No,
the week that we're out might be better than when we're here.
No,
what the hell are we doing?
What I know. What are we doing?
Kataline on the 23rd, Nate Lucas on the 27th. I mean, who? Dan Bongino on one of those days, maybe?
Maybe.
All right, let's go to break, and we'll come back with Porcelli's Deli. Terrible day in history. I know you all know it. And I would like to know from you how you found out about this incident. And I'll tell you how I found out. Okay, that's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, exponentially.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I kind of miss the guy for some reason. Because, we it took us a while, but we figured out all his tells, right? When he says not a joke, it is a joke. He's lying. Yeah. And when he's stuck and he can't find his way out of a sentence, but anyway. Anyway. All right, listen, a great career awaits you. Or, in my case, I'm too old to serve right now in this country. I'm an old fart. But if you have kids or even grandkids who are getting to that age, maybe a career in the Air Force is the way to go, right? A great competitive starting salary, free education opportunities. That's one thing. If you can get your degree while you're working for the Air Force and they pay for it, what could be better, right? 30 days of vacation. Whew. I wonder if Karen Kataline and Nate Lucas are ready for 30 straight days of doing the show. Comprehensive medical and dental care, tax-free food. How's the food in the Air Force?
Supposed to be the best, yeah.
Clothing and housing allowances. You can live, work, and travel overseas and retire after 20 years. And there's over 200 different careers in the Air Force and Space Force. So call Staff Sergeant Jeremy Jefferson at 314-295-6834. That's 314-295-6834 for the United States Air Force and Space Force.
Tim Jones here with Eric from Newstetter's Fine Jewelers. Eric, we often talk about the Newstetter's difference that folks feel right when they walk into the front door of the store.
Newstetter's Fine Jewelry is truly where honesty and integrity meet. We're all about quality at a fair price. Our goal is to guarantee that the gift you give will be loved for a lifetime. Come in and meet our professional staff that will put your needs above all else.
Experience that fantastic Newstetter's difference today at wowdiamonds.com. Newstetter's Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
You can't get food like this in Paris. Bring the family for breakfast and brunch to Nadine's Hash House, offering home-style cooked meals the way your mother made them. Try the savory Southside Slinger, the cinnamon streusel pancakes, or Nadine's famous hash. Make sure to follow Nadine's Hash House on Facebook for weekly specials. Open today from 7 to 1:30 in Soulard on Broadway. Nadine's Hash House. You can't get food like this in Paris. Nadine'sHashHouse.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define,
Sunday nights at 8, right here on News Talk STL.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Whoosh.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Ken, you're the best, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, so we got the deli coming up. We're going to do that in a second, but we thought this might be entertaining for you. God, I hope nobody curses in this. I doubt that happened. But there is the last hearing on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump going on right now in the House. And Ronald Rowe, who is the acting why can't it Secret Service? It's not Social Security.
It's okay.
The acting Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe, and Pat Fallon, a Republican representative from Texas. Listen to them go at it.
So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that.
I was
I'm asking you,
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret
That's
Service
a bunch of
member
horse hockey.
that died
Oh.
on 9/11.
Oh, that you were trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question, please.
You are
Order.
out of line, Congressman.
Don't
Way
try
out
to
of
bully
line.
me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are
I
playing
am a public
politics.
servant who has served this nation, and
You
spent
won't answer
time
the question.
on our day, on our country's darkest
Mr.
day.
Chairman,
Committee will come
Do not
to order.
politicize it.
Committee will come to order.
I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that
No, I
day?
wasn't. I was there
No,
representing
Mr.
the
Chairman,
United
I'm
States
just
Secret
asking you yes or
Service,
no.
sir.
Mr. Fallon, your
and
time's
did not
expired.
affect protective
You know
operations.
why you were
time's
there?
expired.
Because you wanted to be visible, because you were auditioning for this
I was
job.
there to
that
pay
you're not gonna
respect for a
get
fallen
on
member of
January
this
20th.
agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of line,
Biden's life,
Congressman.
Vice President
You are out of
Harris's
line.
life, because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a
Chairman.
radio with
Mr.
you?
Fallon,
Did you
your
wear
time
vests?
has
Did you have a
expired.
weapon?
Mr.
I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman.
Stop.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
That's great. That is great.
Wow.
That's Pat Fallon, my
Wow.
new hero, giving it to Ronald Rowe. And he's asking some serious questions that nobody wants to answer about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Right. So instead of answering, he just lays something on him.
Politicizes everything.
Right.
Man, we gotta play that again tomorrow.
I
We're
know,
gonna again
I know.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good stuff. All right. Sorry, time for the deli.
Welcome to Porcelli's Deli.
Yes, very good. I'll have a Bloody Mary and a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich, please.
Over here.
Where's the ketchup at? I bet the Chinese food here is terrible.
With Vic Porcelli.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
Porcelli's Deli is moved to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Come on in. We're open. Have a seat. Vic will tell you a story.
All right, welcome to Porcelli's Deli. We'll get that coffee warmed up for you in just a second. So today is December the 5th. The 8th, which I believe is Sunday, is the anniversary of the day that John Lennon was gunned down outside the Dakota where he lived in New York City. So that day's events, John went, he was going to go to a recording studio with a friend, and he was with Yoko, and he was on his way to go see a friend at a recording studio. As he gets into the car, this person comes up to him with a copy of Double Fantasy, which was John's new record at the time, and says, "Hey, John, can I get your autograph?" Sure. Signs the autograph for the guy. That guy was the guy who killed him hours later.
Wow.
So John Lennon, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, Ken. John Lennon walked around the streets of New York City with no protection, friendly to everybody, talked to everybody. He loved when, if you were walking down the street and somebody recognized him and you said, "Hey, John," and just kept walking,
Yeah.
didn't stop and want to talk. He loved that. He loved saying, "Hey, how you doing?" And that's what got him killed. The lack of security, lack of protection.
Well, but why would he think that he needed protection? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it that he was a world-known figure, but I mean, why would he think
You're right,
that
Ken.
he would need that kind of protection?
Plus all those years in New York City,
Right.
roaming the streets,
Yeah.
and riding bikes and being in Central Park and people saying hi to him. Why would he think he would need protection?
Right.
So he goes to the recording studio, and he comes back, gets out of his car. The same kid, who I'm not going to mention his name, gets out of the car, and the same kid who asked him for his autograph just hours earlier was waiting with a gun and shot John Lennon in the back and killed him. And the world just seemed to stop, Ken.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, do you remember where you were when you heard that news?
No, but it did make an impact on me because my friends and I, we talked about it.
I found out about it, oddly enough, watching Monday Night Football.
Oh, wow.
I learned later, many years later, that John Lennon and Howard Cosell were great friends. So this is another thing about John Lennon. He made these friends with people. Why would Howard Cosell, a sports reporter, be best friends, not best friends, but great friends with John Lennon?
And a buttoned-up sports reporter.
Exactly,
with a suit
exactly.
and tie and
And
all
what was that? What were those conversations like? John Lennon of the Beatles. How are you?
Right.
I'm okay. How are I doing? All right, you know. I'd love to see some recordings of some of the conversations between those two. So I was watching Monday Night Football, and that very Howard Cosell gave the country the news. It's coming.
Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival.
Now, when you hear that, that's how Howard Cosell spoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't making fun. God, no, you know, but over dramatic, no. That's just the way Howard Cosell talked.
Right.
Brought to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. That's how he would say it to you if he was ordering coffee. I'll take a coffee with milk and sugar. That's just the way he talked.
Right.
You know? And so living in that area at the time, I was in New Jersey. And I didn't know what to. I mean, I wasn't even in radio, Ken. I was working at a drugstore, a clerk in a drugstore. But I turned on WNEW-FM in New York, and every single DJ that you hear on the air came to the radio station. They all converged on the radio station.
Oh, okay.
And they were all talking. And it was wall-to-wall Beatles and John Lennon, and that's all you heard. And actually, Ken, if I can just skip ahead to 2009, the night that Michael Jackson died was for me the day that music radio died.
Wow. Because
Michael Jackson died, right?
Yeah.
And I was working at the time, and I got out of work, and I got into my car expecting to hear nothing but wall-to-wall Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, all over the radio dial, up and down the radio dial. Michael Jackson died.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody talking about it. Nobody playing Michael Jackson songs or Jackson 5 songs. And then I said, oh, that's right. Nobody's there. Everything's automated at that time of night. Right?
That's true, yeah.
But nobody said, turn off the automation, get in there, start taking calls from people, start playing Michael Jackson. Nope.
No.
To me, that was the day that music radio died, the day that Michael Jackson died. Because when John Lennon died, that was the right thing to do. They all showed up at the radio station. And Scott Muni, by the way, a guy who worked at NEW-FM, he hung out with the Beatles. He was like the sixth Beatle. You know, Murray the K was fifth, and he was the sixth. And Dennis Elsas, we've talked about this. When Dennis Elsas was doing a show on a Saturday at WNEW-FM, and who shows up with his new album under his arm? John Lennon.
Right. You've talked about that, yeah.
How often does that happen, right? So that's another example of John Lennon just being a guy.
Right.
Goes in, and they have this long conversation, which you can find, by the way, and listen to the whole thing on the radio. Dennis Elsas, by the way, one of my true heroes and idols in the radio business. And John stayed all day and was reading the weather reports. The weather's brought to you by Nobody Beats the Wiz, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, I don't know. Hearing it, the way I heard about it from Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football, I just thought it was weird.
Yeah.
You know? Like it wasn't a break-in special report from ABC News. And, you know, I wouldn't even want that now that I know.
Well, you were expecting at that time to be hearing Howard Cosell talk about sports.
Exactly.
He's bringing this up.
He was Frank Gifford and Howard Cosell and Dandy Don Meredith. And, you know, and I was like, I couldn't, I thought I didn't hear something right, you know?
Yeah.
John Lennon can't be dead, right? Give peace a chance. And
why is he talking about it?
And why is Howard Cosell talking about it?
Right.
And then we find out years later that John and Howard were great friends. And this coming Sunday is the anniversary of the day that John Lennon was shot at the age of 40 in 1980. And this was one of John's most poignant songs, I think. It was with the Beatles. It's called In My Life on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone and some remain, although places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one who compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more.
Hi, I'm Buddy. Can I get you?
Let's see, steak. Oh, yeah, the Douglas Sirk steak.
Not bad. How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Bloody as hell, and oh yeah, look at this, vanilla Coke.
What about you, Peggy Sue?
I'll have the Durwood Kirby burger, bloody, and a $5 shake.
How do you want that shake? Martin and Lewis or Amos and Andy?
Martin and Lewis.
In my life, I love you more.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Wow, Ken. You are unbelievable. I'm a little verklempt.
A little bit.
I'm a little verklempt. All right, so Chris Cooper at Serenity Wealth Management is such a great guy, such a smart guy, not to mention he sticks up for us all the time. When I had my little disturbance in the space-time continuum in Back to the Future 3, everybody made fun of me, and he was the one who stuck up for me and gave me the skinny on what was going on there. So he takes that attitude into wealth management, right? It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be, oh, God, I don't want to listen to this guy talk. Because, you get there and sometimes you just don't want to listen to this guy talk. But when you go to Chris's little get-togethers, you do want to hear him talk because he's fun and he's funny. And the show's not called Fun with Finance, Ken. Don't you ever say that ever again.
I'll try not to.
It's called Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock, right before us on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. So don't leave your money to the government. Don't leave your money to the medical or care community. Leave your money to your kids or the charity of your choice. Want to find out more about it? Get Chris's new book, The New Holistic Retirement, and you can get it for free right now at serenitynowtax.com. serenitynowtax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now! If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the NewstalkSTL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the NewstalkSTL app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
As someone who practiced law for nearly 20 years, I can tell you it's important to have your own attorney who can help you through all of life's transitions, assist you with all your legal needs. At Civia Law, they do just that. They specialize in helping you veterans as well with your veteran benefits. They also do estate planning, elder law, real estate, business matters, and more. The attorneys at Civia Law standing by to assist you and yours today. Check out all they've got to offer, including special online forms at civialaw.com. 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Unfortunately, nothing happens in Washington. Who gives a damn? Do something about it or abolish the whole frickin' government.
You know what? We need some kind of, I don't know, thermometer. And when Nate's talking, it gets hotter and hotter until it just explodes.
Hey, I like that on the streaming platform. Yep. And it goes up and up and up.
Cartoon thermometer.
Yeah, and it explodes at the very top.
That's what we need.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
'Tis the season to indulge in the magic of our new holiday flavors at Pop Pop Parade. Savor the festive delights of Almond Crunch, Toffee Cashew, Merry Grinchmas, and Jingle Bell Pop. Christmas never tastes so good. Also, pop in and try our new holiday ice cream and milkshakes featuring our eggnog, peppermint M&M, and our mint Oreo shakes. Visit us today at our Ferguson or St. Charles locations. And remember, when you shop small for the holidays, you're making a big difference. Pop Pop Parade. More flavor, more fun, endless possibilities.
Have no fear, the perfect gift is at Pop Pop Parade.
Fox News commentary.
Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg reportedly wants a role in shaping Trump's tech policy. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Facebook founder and Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago last week, and now he thinks he's going to help shape the administration's tech policy. According to Meta's head of global affairs, Nick Clegg, Zuckerberg and the speech overlords over at Facebook and Instagram admit they maybe overdid it a bit with their blatant, active, and ridiculous moderating of pandemic-related content. You think maybe allowing the tyrants over at the Biden administration to dictate the content that was to be reduced or even stripped from the platform was a bit overboard? Yeah, I think a bit is the understatement of the year. And yeah, I would know because I was one of the many conservatives that was singled out for censorship and targeting. Let us not forget even Donald Trump, a then sitting president, was booted off Facebook and Instagram for years as Iran's Ayatollah and pedophiles remained on the platforms. Trump shouldn't let Zuck within a light year of his tech policy. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Yo, Vic, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
You doing, British lady? All right, welcome to it. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Normally we talk to Speaker Tim Jones Wednesdays at 10:05.
Right.
But today we get to end the show with Mr. Speaker.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane.
Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and whoosh to you, my brother.
Good morning, and a double whoosh to my ultra mega deplorable brother. Whoosh.
So,
Whoosh. I'm in the swamp, Vic.
You are? What are you doing there?
That's why I had to bump the usual hit from yesterday. I'm in D.C. Can I name drop?
Yes, of course.
Last night, special, exclusive, private VIP dinner here in D.C. with Congresswoman Ann Wagner, Congressman Eric Burlison, one of the best freedom fighters up here, Congressman Mark Alford, Ways and Means Chairman, the most powerful committee in Congress, Missouri's own Jason Smith, and special guest appearance by Missouri's junior senator, Senator Eric Schmidt, who is ultra MAGA indeed.
Very nice.
But can he dunk?
I think he can.
I think he
well,
can, too.
definitely
I think he
dunk over
could,
me
yeah.
Because when Eric and I stand next to each other, you definitely have the long and the short of it.
If the senator and I were standing next to each other, that would be my first question. Senator, can you dunk? So, not for nothing, but I could see Ann Wagner in the Manchester Deerbergs anytime, okay? So don't think it's such a big shot.
Yeah, we were show off.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they were so excited about, guys? All of them. They talked to us. So we had our, so I'm here at the ALEC conference, American Legislative Exchange Council, feared, loathed, and hated by the ultra-progressive left,
Right.
which is why it's so great
Right.
that we're here in the middle of Washington, D.C., promoting limited government, free markets, and federalism. That's ALEC's mission. That's their tagline. I've been a member of ALEC for over 17 years as an elected official, now in the private sector. I led the Missouri-Illinois delegation up here. Yes, we have some Republican, conservative freedom fighters in Illinois. We got a great delegation up here the whole week learning about how to promote on the state level what Donald Trump and his cabinet and the U.S. Senate and the House, hopefully as well, will be pushing in a positive way for the American people. We're going to implement a lot of those things on the states. And I was really excited to hear that our congressional delegation, the folks I just mentioned, and all of their colleagues, they're going to meet today. They may be meeting with them right now on Capitol Hill with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. If anybody thinks this is just some campy, kitschy, fake campaign cliche, it's not. This is a real thing. The Department of Doge is a absolute, honest to goodness, real thing, and it is hopefully going to implement many of the things that we've been talking about for years, right? We've been kind of many of us have been the wandering voice in the wilderness about cutting all the crap out of government. Rand Paul comes out with the Festivus airing of grievances every year. Joni Ernst, the senator from Iowa, great senator from Iowa, she came out with a 22-point bullet list that's published on Twitter. She published it last week. $2 trillion, guys, that we could cut out of the federal budget today, and not a single person would miss it. Granny would not be pushed off the cliff. We wouldn't hate the children. The veterans would be absolutely fine. This would save money for the American taxpayer, put money back in our pockets so we could grow our families, our businesses, and our general lives here in the States, so we're not completely ruled by everything going on in D.C. So they're meeting. The congressional delegation, the Republicans, they're meeting with the Department of Doge directors, Musk and Ramaswamy today. And then Ramaswamy's going to come over, and he's going to talk to us here at ALEC this afternoon. So a lot of buzz, a lot of energy up here, a lot of excitement. I just hope Republicans, we always say Democrats are the evil party and Republicans are often the stupid party. I hope they can suspend the stupid for a few months, guys, and actually get done what Donald Trump has laid out as the agenda to make America great again.
That exactly leads me to my next question. The tough question, Tim, is so Elon and Vivek, they make their recommendations, because at this point, that's all it is recommendations, right? Because they don't really work for the government, can't really do anything about it, just recommend. What's the process like? How long is the process going to take for some of these cuts to actually happen?
Well, it needs to happen in the first 2 years, guys. I know we all think in 4-year blocks when it comes to presidential administrations. And yes, Donald Trump's going to be president for 4 years, much to the chagrin of the leftists and the haters. But he's going to have, we know that he'll have 2 years and maybe only 2 years, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2026, do we? So we know for sure we got 2 years. So there's discussion right now, and I talked to Jason Smith about this last night, Ways and Means chairman. He's going to be right in the middle of all this, making Missouri proud, leading the charge on extending and hopefully even expanding the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017. Donald Trump's one of his crowning achievements in the long list of achievements, that for the first time since Reagan put a choke chain on the federal government and said, no, you're not going to have all this money. We're going to keep it in the pockets of the people. And I hate how they talk up here in D.C., and we do it in Jefferson City as well. We do. How are we going to pay for this? I don't care. We don't have to pay for this. We're not paying for. I don't want to pay government for anything. Yeah. When did we get in this concept that government has to have half of our money?
Yeah.
And if we don't give government half of our money, that somehow the sun's not going to rise in the east and set in the west tomorrow, and that life as we know is going to come to an end. Life is going to continue to get better, as it was under Donald Trump, if we continue to cut more taxes and decrease more spending and let Missourians expand their businesses and their communities, because we know how to do it better than these D.C. bureaucrats. I heard a stat yesterday. I think you guys know Phil Kerpen. I think you've had him on the show.
We have it now.
Yeah, Phil Kerpen. I see Phil Kerpen all the time, talk to him. He helps write the Committee to Unleash Prosperity email every day with Stephen Moore, Dr. Art Laffer. Phil said, you guys aren't going to believe this. Out of all the federal office space up here in the Washington, D.C. area, they are currently at a 9% occupancy rate. 9%.
Wow.
91% of the federal buildings in D.C. are empty. How much is that costing us to run empty, massive billions, right, Ken? Billions every day, every year. You could shut 75% of them down tomorrow
Nobody
and
would
we
notice.
wouldn't even notice the difference.
I've read about that. Hey Tim, Donald Trump, he hit the ground not running but flying. He's putting
He's
together
not even president yet,
and he's not even president yet, but he's making effects around the world.
Yep.
Number one, he's putting his team together faster than any president in modern history. Tim.
Yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel it up. You can see it. It's palpable here in D.C. You know, D.C. is like 90% left-wing lunatic progressive, and they're all. You can tell who the Washingtonians are. They're all kind of walking around stunned. They're like, they're like in PTSD, you know.
Good.
And then all the people that are coming up here. I was talking to my cousin Sarah. She works for Customs and Border Patrol. She's been a upper-level senior staffer there. She's chief of staff now to one of the interim directors, and she's, quote, nonpartisan, but she's a great American. So she's extremely happy with what happened in the election. So happy about Tom Homan coming back. And so you've got all these people coming back to D.C. To hopefully not only, take back America, but take back the swamp. And she said that like half of Florida is moving back up here because you got Congressman Mike Waltz, who's going to be in the administration.
Right.
You got Marco Rubio. Yeah, he's already a U.S. Senator, but his staff is going to get much bigger when he becomes Secretary of State. And, there's talk about Ron DeSantis maybe being in the cabinet. We'll see. But the good news is all of these freedom fighters in the states, especially from Florida, who know how to get stuff done. Right?
Man, that was close.
They're going to bring.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
They're going to bring those Sunshine State, normal American freedom and liberty policies back to D.C. They're going to be coming here from Florida. Kristi Noem's going to be coming here from South Dakota. These are leaders in the states, many of whom have been at this ALEC conference, who have the most productive states. It works, right? The left thinks it doesn't work. When you look at Texas, Florida, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri's got to start catching Arkansas under the leadership of Huckabee Sanders. All these states are doing similar things that are working and progressing their states forward. They're cutting income taxes, which is a horrible, immoral tax on your labor. You want less of something, tax it more. You want more of something, tax it less. How about we don't tax labor and we tax consumption? So they're cutting taxes. They're implementing school choice options for parents. They're fighting back and beating the wokeitocracy. So proud to see Andrew Bailey this week join the 10-state coalition to sue BlackRock over all this ridiculous woke ESG crap. So, guys, it's a new era. They know a new sheriff, to your point, is rolling into town soon, and they're bringing the common sense, conservative policies that are good for all Americans back to D.C. But, guys, they're going to have to fight tooth and nail, and that's our job every day, to megaphone this stuff, to push back against the ridiculous stories that are already coming out of the media about how bad freedom and liberty is for the American people.
All right, listen, we only have about a minute left, and I'm sorry to just give you a minute, but what's the inside dope that you're hearing about Pete Hegseth?
I would love for Pete Hegseth to have the opportunity that every other appointment's going to have, and that's to have a full, fair hearing before the body that's supposed to be doing this, and that's the U.S. Senate. Not to have a crucifixion imposed upon him in a public show trial in the press. Why does the press is not part of the advise and consent of the Senate? That's the Senate's job. So I think the press needs to shut the hell up until the actual questions are asked and answered in these Senate hearings. If there's a problem with Pete Hegseth, then the senators will have to decide that. But we should not be crucifying him and publicly executing him just because the lollipop heads over at CNN and MSNBC don't like him because he was a Fox News guy.
It's all lies.
People who are sticking up for him are doing it publicly, right? Mark Cain, Will Cain, his partner, Rachel Campos Duffy, also his partner, have said they've never. Joey Jones, who said he's very sensitive to that thing, never smelled alcohol on him. I don't know. I just can't take it. All right, Tim, this afternoon, you and Chris Arps, we shall be listening. You're going to do the show from there or no?
Yeah, I'll be broadcasting live, knee deep in the swamp.
Fantastic. Awesome. Tim Jones, whoosh my speaker. Have a great day and be careful out there.
Whoosh my brothers. Thank you as always for having me on this awesome show that you have.
Thanks, Tim.
We have an awesome show.
Whoosh.
According to the speaker.
Tim.
When the speaker talks,
we listen.
It says we have a great show. So it's good. Okay, listen very quickly. Wow Diamonds. It's a Wow Diamonds Christmas with Newstetter's Fine Jewelers. Go to NewstalkSTL right now. Register to win a $500 gift certificate from Newstetter's just in time for the holidays. Tim Jones, who you just heard there, and Chris Arps will announce the winner on December 10th. I'm getting a haircut that day. Newstetter's is at 2961 Doherty Ferry Road in Kirkwood, or you can go to wowdiamonds.com. Thank you for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
I'm going to miss old Joe. Not his policies.
No, we'll keep that, though.
Miss the comedy.
Yeah. We'll keep stuff.
Bongino is next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh.
Seavers JCB create a custom purchasing plan for your year-end equipment needs and maximize your tax savings. Whether you need 0% financing for up to 60 months, generous cash incentives up to $9,000, or extended warranties for up to 5 years, Seavers JCB can tailor a plan to fit your fleet needs and budget. Programs are available in a wide range of products, including track loaders, excavators, wheel loaders, and more. Call, stop by, or check them out online at SeaversJCB.com.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-345-2789. 800-345-2789 or biglou.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. It's day 3 of the deliberations in the New York City chokehold manslaughter case against Daniel Penny. Penny has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Prosecutors say he recklessly killed Jordan Neely. Penny's defense maintains he was justified in acting to protect fellow subway riders from Neely. A quick-hitting but potent winter storm delivering intense bursts of snow and strong winds from the Midwest to the Northeast, knocking out power and creating dangerous travel conditions. The storm moved east and expanded its wintry conditions over more of the Great Lakes, Midwest, and parts of the interior Northeast. Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin resident Bryce Cabana says 7 inches of snow, that was more than he was expecting. Speaking to WBAY.
The 1 to 3 inches I thought is what we were getting, and woke up and it was probably 6 inches and maybe more in some spots with the drifts, but a little more work cut out than expected.
There is the threat of more snow squalls spreading to the interior Northeast. Also at townhall.com, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose last week.
The Labor Department says jobless claim applications rose by 9,000 to 224,000 for the week of November 30th. Despite the increase, the number of claims remains at historically healthy levels. Continuing claims, the total number of Americans collecting jobless benefits fell by 25,000 to 1.87 million for the week of November 23rd.
Correspondent Jeremy House. 2 children have been critically wounded in a shooting at a religious school in Northern California. The gunman is dead. The shooting at Feather River School of Seventh-day Adventists in Palermo, a small town north of Sacramento. The Dow dropping 110 points, the NASDAQ up 17. More at townhall.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-9534. That's 800-298-9534. 800-298-9534.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A blast of cold Canadian air has arrived. Single-digit wind chills this morning, just a meager warm-up this afternoon. It'll take us to about 26 for the high. Winds will gradually weaken, though, which means the wind chill slowly becomes less of a factor. That's a good thing because tonight looks even colder. Overnight lows around 17. But then sunny Friday and milder highs around 39. Weekend warm-up still on track. Highs should be in the 50s on Saturday and Sunday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
True story. I was with Jay Ackerman, and a waitress came up and began praising Ackerman Toyota. She was afraid she might need a new car, so she had gone to Ackerman and was told, you don't really need a new car, just new tires. Obviously, tremendously relieved and thanking Jay over and over. Another example where Ackerman Toyota did what's right for her and will for you. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
So what's going on?
Right here.
To me, this looks like the run-up to World War II.
News Talk STL.
They're playing with fire. Democrats are destroying the country.
News, analysis, opinion. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Hey, man, thanks for the birthday gift yesterday. You know what it was, Jim? It was like, no, what was it? So PodTrack came out. It's one of the PodTrack podcast rankers, and came out today. We were number 5 again. So thank you. Top 5. We really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting both the radio show and the podcast. I can't thank you guys enough, especially after all the tremendous birthday wishes yesterday from everyone. I feel like I've got the biggest extended family anywhere in the world. I do. I wish it was more symmetric. I wish I could know everything about you like you do about me. I try to share a lot. Obviously, it's a big audience. That's kind of hard. But I love you guys, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And to the radio show and the listeners and the program directors who've chosen to take it on the show and put us on live, we really appreciate it. We've got some just great news over the past few days. I got a lot to talk about today, and I want to put a little disclaimer in the beginning of the show. The reason I did not dig deeply yesterday into the, almost unbelievable story of the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO is because I was applying the Bongino rule on that, which, as you know, means give it 24 to 72 hours for some facts to develop before you do a really deep dive on a story, because you're typically going to be proven wrong. And here's the thing, folks. This show has been a success because of you. But one of the things we never do, like Jim and I are resolutely committed to this, is we really try not to be first. What are you talking about? That's what reporting's about. No, reporting's about being right, not journalism. You call me a journalist, it's the worst insult known to man. I'd rather you call me a serial murderer than call me a journalist. It's an awful slur. But reporting, doing investigative reporting, that's fine. You got to be right. So the reason I didn't dig deeply into it, this absolutely incredible story, probably seen the surveillance video, shot in the middle of the street, the morning in Manhattan, assassination style, like something out of a spy movie or something, is because there was so much speculation early on that this must be some Jason Bourne-like professional. And some of the stuff I was watching was borderline ridiculous. People are like, oh, look, he's catching the rounds as they're coming out of the semi-auto firearm. Like, he's not catching them. You know how hard that is to do? Imagine shooting and the extractor and it pushes out the cartridge and you're catching him. I'm like, this guy must be, this is like, Jim, remember Enter the Ninja, Shokasugi style? This guy must be a ninja. You know, remember Ninja 3, the Dominate, take a ninja to kill a ninja. I believed that when I was a kid, by the way. I did. I believed that when I was a kid. I believed a lot about ninjas when I was a kid. Matter of fact, I ran into Triple H at the UFC, could not have been a nicer guy. Paul Levesque, what an amazing guy. And he asked me, who's your WWE favorite star? I said, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I said, I thought he was a real ninja growing up. I really did. I used to argue with my brother about it. But that's besides the point. Only on the Dan Bongino show do we throw in ridiculous tangents like that. This guy, I don't think was a ninja at all. So I'm going to do a bit of a deeper dive on this in a minute. Stay tuned. But I've got some important business to take care of first. And by business, I mean business is saving the country. Folks, it's Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary. Update on this. We cannot let him go down. If he goes down, we're all going down. I'm telling you, the swamp is going to make this their last stand. And if we lose Pete, we are going to lose Tulsi Gabbard. You're going to lose RFK, and you may lose Cash too. And we are going to be stuck with a Mitt Romney, Rex Tillerson cabinet. I'm telling you, they are not in charge. It is an advice and consent role. It is not an appointment role. You've already given your advice and you've taken your scalp. Okay? I don't agree with what happened to Gates. I think he was a satisfactory pick. Wasn't my first choice. However, I don't think there was any reason not to confirm him. You got your scalp. There you go. You showed everybody, look, we got a pair too. Look, we can do it. Great. Congratulations, losers. You did what you did, okay? This is not the candidate for that, Pete. He is a good man. And I thought, you know what? Yesterday, I really, I feel like I left this part out, and shame on me. I told you that the objections to Pete Hegseth for defense secretary are not ideological, and they have nothing to do with his character, folks. This is all crap. This is all about money. Pete Hegseth, I believe, is the one guy out there who will do two important things. He will start asking questions about our overseas military commitments because he's been there and he's been in combat. And if our young men and women are going to die and come back with both physical and mental scars in a combat zone, then you damn well better put down on paper why we should be there and give us the end game. And they don't like that. There is a lot of money in the defense business. I'm not knocking the defense industry at all. At all. I mean it. Thank God we have the best weapons in the world. And you've produced the technology to do it. I do, however, object to using that influence to get us involved in foreign interventions we should not be involved in. I'm sorry, but that is not right. It's unethical, it's immoral, and it should be called out. There is enough. We can have a strong and powerful military where everybody's doing well. Our soldiers, the Pentagon, defense contractors, everybody's doing a strong and powerful military without this military-industrial complex unnecessarily influencing U.S. policy and getting our men and women killed. It's immoral. And we should call it out. And Pete is going to ask those questions. I'm going to put a dollar figure on it in a minute, and you're going to be stunned at how much money is in this. And second, there's also money in wokeism. Pete has already said publicly and said again yesterday that he's going to, and he's not shying away from this at all. Matter of fact, you know what, Jim, cue up for me, cut one. You'll listen to this in his own words. He is focused on one thing, him and the soon-to-be commander-in-chief, Donald Trump. Because let's be clear, nothing's going to happen without Donald Trump. He is the commander-in-chief. Pete is a deputy of him in the cabinet, okay? Pete said yesterday in front of the mics what Donald Trump told him the only goal of this military is going to be. He says it really eloquently, lethality. What's that code word for, Jim? Killing freaking bad guys. I'm not as eloquent. I'm not Shakespeare. This is why the woke business can't stand them, because woke is going to go right out the window. Check this out.
Wonderful process to go through and meet with senators and talk to them, especially members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, whose passion is the Defense Department, and our warfighters, to hear what they want to do to make sure that department is properly oriented for the threats of the world and make sure that we're putting the warfighters first. That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process. It's been a wonderful process.
You could not say anything worse. Jim's like, what do you mean? That was awesome. No, it was awesome for us. I'm talking about to the bad guys. Sorry. I hope you didn't just stop the show and tune out. Did Bongino attack me? Hence the pregnant pause. No, you couldn't say anything worse. Yeah, media matters. Media matters. I cut it off right there. Bongino turns on Hegseth. It's the steward from the New York Times. Bongino stabs Hegseth in the back. You could not say anything worse. To defense industry lobbyists and to woke profiteers who grift off the DEI woke industry, you could not say anything worse. The last thing that at least the wokesters, defense industry, again, we shouldn't throw them all in the same bucket. I mean, listen, I buy firearms and rifles from companies that provide weapons probably to the U.S. government too. And that's a great thing. I just don't want them influencing our foreign policy. I know the business is corrupted and the business of politics, people are going to always try to snake and weasel their way in, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. Pete is focused on lethality. If you are a wokester in the United States government making billions of dollars off the DEI woke culture, then that's the last damn thing you want to hear, lethality. You want to hear about social justice, recruiting of, Jim, what is he at? Am I missing one here? LGBTQIA, BIOPC, 2+1 spirit. If I'm missing one and leaving it out, it's not intentional. Everybody got lost years ago. I missed 86 other genders, he says, Jim. If you're not focused on that, there's no money in it for them. Okay. You're probably saying, Dan, put a number on this sucker. Okay, I will. Here's an article from City Journal. Christopher Rufo wrote. Rufo writes about this kind of stuff. It's called DEI Cash Cow. It's in my newsletter today. Bongino.com/newsletter. He says there's an old saw that in America, every great cause begins as a movement and eventually degenerates into a racket. Oh my gosh, producer Jim, has that ever been truer than about DEI? What? This is a racket, folks. It's a scam. He goes on. This is certainly true of the latest fashionable cause, DEI. What might have begun as a social movement is now a business, and not just in the U.S. Rufo notes, according to McKinsey and Company, spending on DEI-related efforts across the globe, you want to hear a crazy number? Totaled $7.5 million? No. $750 million? Jim's like, read the damn paper. It's right in front of you. $7.5 billion. And they note if trends continue, the DEI figure will exceed $15 billion by 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, wokeism and DEI is very profitable for people. You know, listen, I'm not trying to be a smartass or a know-it-all with you. I'm not, okay? I'm not. I'm just one of you guys in this growing Bongino army. I'm just a soldier here with the microphone. That's it. But I have been warning you forever that running for office changed my life. Losing was the best thing that ever happened. I'd be a different person if I won. I would. It was the best thing that ever happened was me losing running for office. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I mean it. I learned so much in those runs for office. There are so many people out there. Folks, almost nothing that happens in the federal government is done on principle. Almost nothing. I really do believe, like Mike Lee and Rand Paul believe in the Constitution and limiting government spending. I do. But outside of him and like Massey and a few others, everyone else is a sellout. When you go up there, everybody has an interest. I made a joke on the podcast this morning. I wasn't kidding. I said, pick out anything in this room, and I'll tell you how there's a lobbying interest, paying someone off in Congress and at the state level. I said, look, there's a Dyson fan in the corner over there. You may hear it in the background once in a while. It gets hot in here with all this equipment in the studio. I guarantee you there is some lobby group that covers the fan industry out there. Don't laugh. Go look it up. It may not be specifically fans. Maybe it's about electric products or whatever, but there is someone in the fan industry right now lobbying either for a tax carve-out or a government subsidy for that business. I promise you, there is not a single business interest in America that doesn't have some group lobbying for them. Not one. Not a single one. The DEI woke culture is a grift, bro. It's a racket. It's a scam. They don't believe this stuff. Yeah, a couple of crazies believe there are 742 genders. Most of the other people don't believe it at all. They go and they teach the 742 gender course because they're getting paid six figures to do it. If you stop paying them, they wouldn't be talking about it. That's just one of the reasons they're trying to submarine, pun intended, Pete Hegseth's nomination as defense secretary. It's got to do with, Pete had some issues in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a combat veteran who's seen a lot in his life. They deserve maximum flexibility on what happened. Maximum. You know why? They did. Gosh, I want to curse right now. So, but that other people weren't willing to do. They had bullets whizzing by their heads, and they had to go out and do things like killing people, which I promise you, it's not the movies, isn't fun. You got to live with it the rest of your life. The fact that he may have had a beer once in a while, I don't believe any of that. He showed up to work. Nonsense. I worked with him 10 years. That's crap. He's had some issues in his personal relationship. You know what? It happens. People come back with a lot of scars. I want a guy like that over there who understands it. You let him go down to the DEI woke grift, it's over, man. The swamp's already won. Joni Ernst, Lindsey Graham, we're watching you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. More on this coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-6486.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-6486. That's 800-550-6486.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Dan Bongino.
I really am a liberal, but I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side.
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
No matter your inclination.
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
We are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you. St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk. And I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Jim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking to former U.S. Senator Jim Talent, has the Trump transition team contacted you?
I've had a couple of people in the transition, not formally, just talk to me, and there's some pretty good advisory roles, which I did in the first Trump administration. I think they have a good list of younger people. I'm 10 years younger than Trump. I don't have his energy.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Boy, this has been a fast year, right? A lot of things you'd planned to do, you never got around to. Like maybe you're thinking about selling the home, but never were sure what would be a good time. Now's the time to check with Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. They have so many approved home buyers, they can guarantee you an offer, and they sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. Now, here's the number. I'll give you a chance to repeat it later. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. I'll remind you, there is no obligation, no long-term commitment. If you're not happy or you simply change your mind or circumstances change, they're a wife and husband team. They understand things happen like that with family. Life happens. But again, the number, 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Cabinet hopefuls are not the only ones making pilgrimages to Mar-a-Lago.
A new beginning.
You cannot deny that there's almost like this weight that's been lifted.
And fresh perspective.
I think Donald Trump has a strong mandate.
China's President Xi Jinping said that he is ready to work with the incoming administration.
Doesn't guarantee a happy ending.
Prosecutors said consideration must be given to potentially freezing the case.
What happens next?
Until after he gets out of office.
Happens here.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
America, land of the free, home of the Dan Bongino Show.
Yes, responding to some of the audience questions on Rumble and elsewhere. Yes, I am absolutely going to cover the Secret Service hearing up on the Hill, which just blew up. I mean, absolutely blew up. The acting director, Ron Rowe, is just beclowning himself now. Just embarrassing himself. Congressman Pat Fallon brought up something really interesting because it was brought up to me by a number of sources. I'll get to that in the next segment, so don't go anywhere. But I want to address something here, too, because, folks, this show is nothing to be scoffed at. I think, what is it, Talkers estimates the audience at 8.5 million weekly. And the podcast, the biggest live stream in the world for politics. Who cares? What does that matter? Well, it matters because to Senators Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham, who I'm hearing from very reliable sources, are the two marshaling the effort to try to crush Pete Hegseth, a change agent, as defense secretary. I just want you to know something. And I mean this in the political sense with not due respect. We're not going to forget. Jim, did we forget what Esposito did? The Jim Jordan thing? We did not. Where's he now? He did. Wow, that's interesting. He lost. Some of them won, too, but they're banned from the show. We didn't forget what John James did either. We don't forget anything. So if you want to get on the bad side of millions of conservatives who will vote in primaries, then Joni Ernst and Lindsey, I suggest you keep doing what you're doing because I promise you we're not going to forget. Open an IRA in gold with Birch Gold and you get free silver shipped directly to your home. That's right. It's the most wonderful time of the year, the only time of the year that Birch Gold gives away a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. And here's the best part. You don't have to pay a penny out of pocket. Simply convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, and Birch Gold will send you free silver coins directly to your home. Now, you may be thinking, why do I need to diversify into gold? My guy's headed to D.C. Things are good. Well, here are the facts. An administration trying to reverse a $35 trillion national debt in just 4 years is like a field mouse trying to stop a freight train. We can't even afford to pay the interest on the debt, let alone the principal. Take action now. Text Bongino to 989898 before December 18th for a free info kit on gold and to claim your eligibility for free silver on qualifying purchases from Birch Gold. Do this before December 18th. Again, text Bongino to the number 989898 for peace of mind that lasts longer than 4 years. Message and data rates apply.
Dan Bongino.
Do you have a...
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose last week. Jobless claim applications rose by 9,000 to 224,000 for the week of November 30th, according to the Labor Department. Sheriff's officials say 2 children have been wounded in a shooting at a tiny religious school in Northern California. The gunman is dead. The Butte County Sheriff says the boys, age 5 and 6, were in extremely critical condition following Wednesday's shooting at the Feather River School of Seventh-day Adventists in Palermo, California. U.S. donors gave $3.6 billion on Tuesday, an increase from the past 2 years. That's according to estimates from the nonprofit Giving Tuesday. The Dow is down 143 points, the NASDAQ up 53. This is SRN News.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-9534. That's 800-298-9534. 800-298-9534.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Need promotional products or apparel for your business? Look no further than Blue Sky Promotions. This woman-owned, locally operated company in Bridgeton specializes in anything and everything promotional. From branded apparel and uniforms to custom giveaways and marketing materials, Blue Sky Promotions has you covered. Whether you're looking to stand out at a trade show, build brand awareness, or reward your employees, Blue Sky Promotions has the solutions you need. Visit BlueSkyPromotions.com or call 314-739-3531.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-pressure colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Colombo and Company.
A lot going on as we're just weeks away from a new president and a new legislative session in Missouri. We'll cover all of it Thursday with Rep. Justin Sparks and Dr. Randy Tobler.
Live and local weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
Be heard. Call 844-4-THE-USA now to let Dan know what you think. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
So this Pete Hegseth nomination is, just kidding. Just kidding. If you're a P1, you know where I'm going with this. Eric's already typing right now. He's typing right now. He's already made a complaint to HR. Just kidding, Eric. I'm messing with you. Had to recognize Pantera for all our Pantera lovers. If you know, you know. Eric, but you can rescind the complaint. Jim, intercepted before it gets to HR. Eric gets very upset if it's not immediately recognized. Jim, do you have that Joni Ernst thing? Folks, this is why I keep telling you, like, me and government is probably not a good idea. I read all of your email, well, not all of them, but as many as I can. I'm going to be dramatic. Your tweets and your true social posts. And I see it all the time. Dan, go back and lead the Secret Service. And I deeply appreciate that. Your confidence in me matters more than anything. I only care about President Trump and you guys. That's it. But folks, it's not. I'm not an inside player. I don't care about Joni Ernst or Lindsey Graham. Honestly, I don't care about any of them. I have some personal feelings for Mike Lee because he was with me early. No, I mean, I really mean it. Like Mike Lee, when I ran for Senate in Maryland, I don't waste your time with personal stories, but nobody knew me from Adam at all. I was just like some random Secret Service agent ran for office, and everybody in Maryland was like, who the hell's this kid? And Mike Lee invited me to Capitol Hill. We had to sit down with him and his staff. And he was like, man, you're really good. Like, what can I do to help? I'll never forget that. But I have no personal allegiance to any of these people. And, you know, you can't speak candidly on the radio or a podcast if you're constantly lobbying for some government job or government contract. I'm not trying to tell you guys I'm above all this stuff. I'm just saying I choose not to. It's a choice I made a long time ago. Believe me, there have been a number of opportunities to do things that would have required me to stay quiet about stuff. And I can't do it. I just don't have the capability to do that. Don't, take care of this guy. He's going to be one of us later. Don't say anything. No, I'm not doing that. To Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham, and again, Murkowski, an absolute life loser in Alaska and others. There's nothing you're going to do to Murkowski because she's a scammer. Murkowski will do anything. The Democrat posing as a Republican senator from Alaska, she will do anything to stay in power. She got her job because of her last name. She's the most unliked senator up on Capitol Hill. She represents a blood red state, and she's the Democrats' best weapon. You mean the Republican? No, I mean the Democrats. I don't waste a lot of time on Susan Collins. She's from Maine, folks. Honestly, don't waste your time. I'm a realist politically. She's the best you're going to get. Whatever. Let her do her thing. Don't even bother. It's a waste of time. Joni Ernst is from Iowa. Lindsey Graham is from South Carolina. Murkowski's from Alaska. And you're fighting against Pete Hegseth, who is beloved by our audience. Donald Trump obviously loves the idea of Pete going up and cleaning up the Pentagon and our war machine. And you're sitting there in the way? I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, did you vote for the general? The black guy? Jim's like, my gosh, Dan, how can you say that? I didn't say it. His name is Lloyd Austin. Joe Biden calls him that. He doesn't even know his name. You doubt me? Go, Stewart, New York Times. Go look it up, dumbass. He didn't even know his name, the defense secretary. The black guy, the general, Lloyd Austin. The guy who went overseas with, remember the face mask? He looked like Darth Vader. He had the face mask on. He had the mask underneath. Do you remember that? This guy is completely incompetent. They voted for him. And you object to Pete Hegseth, combat vet, decorated combat vet, Ivy League grad. Jim, you got that Ernst clip? I'm sorry, I asked it. Here's Joni Ernst this morning. Folks, this woman, I'm sorry, is a fake. And if she doesn't come out publicly soon and say, listen, I am not, Lindsey Graham, I have to be, honesty matters. I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham. I think that's fairly obvious. Graham is kind of backtracking a little bit. He did on Hannity last night. So again, I'm not emotional. I am an emotional guy, but I'm not emotional about this. I'm a spreadsheet guy. If Lindsey Graham is going to be a +1 on Pete Hegseth, Jim, what's our take on it? Good. We're all for. Are we going to get emotional about it? No. I'm not at a kid's birthday party. I'm not waiting for my orange drink in the back of a McDonald's in Glendale. If you grew up in Glendale, that's where everybody did. Thank you, brother. They are tools. Politicians see you as a tool. We see them as a tool, too. Joni Ernst, though, this morning was asked a pretty direct question by Bill Hemmer. Hey, man, are you a yes or a no on Hegseth? She still can't answer the question. She was a yes on the general, the black guy, who Biden doesn't even know his name. But not on Pete. Kind of weird. Almost like she wants the job kind of like herself. Really? Listen to this.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared. And that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process. And that's why I was happy to sit down with Pete and have that conversation with him yesterday. So again, all I will say at this time is that we did have a very thorough discussion over a number of those issues. And the vetting will continue, I am certain, through the next month or so until we approach that hearing.
Oh, my gosh. I can't take the political speak anymore. Pete has been in the public eye for 10 years. It's really strange you haven't heard any of this before, isn't it? Folks, I worked at Fox News. Let me tell you something. Before you work at Fox News, they do their homework on you. They don't want to be embarrassed. Listen, listen to your boy. What do you know about working at Fox News? Gee, I don't know. I worked there like for a long time. They do their homework. It's smart. No, it is, whether you like Fox or not. Jim, we hire a commentator on here. We want a guy on here. We find out 6 months ago was a member of a foreign terrorist organization. No, either does Fox. You don't find it weird? Pete has been a host on Fox for 10 years and a commentator? And all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, he showed up to work and I think he had a beer. And really? It's interesting. Nobody who actually worked with him saw that. Right. Yeah. Jim just said it right, too. Hey, Joni Ernst, I had a really thorough conversation. So thorough, I have absolutely no conclusions whatsoever. You know what? Jim brought up something interesting. Turn on your mic. Folks, I'm going to tell you a story again about Pete because you need to hear this again, the kind of guy this guy is. The Patriot Awards 2-3 years ago, I don't know, remember, it doesn't matter. It was at the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale. And we're sitting there, and Paul and I, because we live in Florida, decided to stay the night and hang out the extra day at the Cabana. So I had sent Pete an email or a text. I said, hey, Pete, if you want to hang out the next day. I didn't realize Pete was flying out first thing in the morning. He'd host the show. He hosted every year, the Patriot Awards. I didn't realize that. And he responds back, of course, like he always does. If you text Pete, right, he gets back to you like that, no matter what. Unless he's in like a congressional hearing, he gets back to you in 5 minutes. Text Pete. Well, don't if you don't have, but if you have his number, do a little test. When he was on Fox and Friends, you text him. The second they go to commercial, he answers you right back because he's your friend and he knows he should respond back. So he texts me back right away. He says, yeah, absolutely, sure. And he brings his lovely wife, Jen, who's amazing and a really wonderful person. Jim, you were there that day, correct?
I was.
Now, Jim, because we don't ever lie to the audience, were you and I, by the way, Eric says he's going right to Teresa, but which Eric, this guy, really, he's going right to the top. Teresa was there too. We had consumed a few adult sodas, correct? Responsibly.
Yes, we did.
We did. Okay. The orthodontist was there. We had a good time. There was one guy there who wasn't drinking anything. Do you remember what his name was?
Yes, it was Pete Hegseth.
Pete, that's the same guy.
It is.
That's it. And he looked like him too. Wavy hair, blonde wife. That's so great. Tattoos?
Yes, that's the
Seems
guy.
like he had identifying markers. Tattooed we the people on the forearm. He looked exactly like Pete. So weird, Jim. We're partying at a cabana in the Hard Rock at Fort Lauderdale. Like if you're going to party, right? That's like the place to go, correct? You got some gambling. You got all the vices you would possibly need, right? And everyone was drinking there, responsibly, of course, except Pete. That's kind of weird. Stories out there. He's like this total, oh my gosh.
Nobody would have known either.
Not a single person would have known because he was just hanging out, chatting with people, doing his thing. And you know what really touched me that day? Because I love Pete a lot because he's a good man. I said, man, I really appreciate you coming. He stayed for about 4 or 5 hours and then he had to leave. He had to catch a flight, which he had delayed. Jim was right there. And I said, man, I appreciate you and Jen coming. That was really nice. You had such a good time. And he said, yeah, I changed my flight. Matter of fact, I put a note in my calendar. And he showed me the calendar on his phone. It said, hang with Bongino. Folks, I'm having this like 50th birthday party coming up. And like, what the hell does it have to do with this? I share everything with you. Probably too much, but it's okay. Because I feel the need to do this. I got to tell you, I was really hurt by some of the people I sent the invite to, who I've been a really good friend to, who were like, oh, man, I got something I know they don't have anything to do. It wasn't a lot, but it was a few. Jim knows the story. And I was really touched by some of the people who I'm friends with, but not like I'm friends with Jim or Mike, but like friendly with, who were like, oh, yeah, I'll be there. Like, it really tells you who your friends are. Pete's one of those guys.
Can I go a step further?
You could, of course. That's why I told you to open your mic.
He's going through all this stuff on Capitol Hill right now, and I texted him, asked him to do something for me for your birthday. He got right back to me.
Meanwhile, he's up on Capitol Hill with a bunch of rats and vulture reporters like, I hear 7 years ago, after you left the combat zone, you took a shot of whiskey. Oh, my God, he did. The combat vet may have had a drink with his friends. I did. This guy's banned. The Jim. I mean, what a disgrace.
I've never heard of a soldier doing that before.
Me either. I was a cop. I've never heard of a cop doing that either. Never heard of that. Disgusting. Here, you want to see one more? I gotta get this in before the break. It's important. I didn't forget about the Secret Service hearing. Yes, major fireworks. Major. I'm going to give you the inside story, too, about what happened. Trust me, not a lot of people know, so stay tuned. Here is Statista. Statista is a statistics website. It's not a partisan website at all. You want to see how much money is involved in making sure Pete Hegseth doesn't become the defense secretary? Someone should ask Joni Ernst about this. Statista. According to the CBO of the United States, the spending on defense will rise to $1.1 trillion by 2033. Global military spending will rise to $2.44 trillion. Folks, that's a lot of money. There's a lot of people very interested. And I want to say clearly, I'm not knocking people who produce valuable weapons for the United States. But there is a lot of lobbying to get your boys and girls and men and women involved in overseas conflicts we have no business being a part of. There's a lot of dinero in that. And when you get a guy like Pete, who's an outsider, who's seen the scourge of war and has the emotional scars from it, who may start asking why, a lot of those people are getting very upset. More coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino. Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 844-53-BIBLE. That's 844-53-BIBLE. 844-53-BIBLE.
Dan Bongino.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What citizen wouldn't want to make America great again?
Live and local.
You lose, you Dixon Notch. Yeah. You lost America. I saw it etched on coins up here.
This is News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of three places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities. Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't let Uncle Sam be your biggest beneficiary. Take control of your financial future today. Visit SerenityNowTax.com for your free copy of Chris's book, The New Holistic Retirement. Serenity Wealth Management, because you deserve peace of mind in retirement. Request your free book today at SerenityNowTax.com. That's SerenityNowTax.com to get your free copy of The New Holistic Retirement. That's SerenityNowTax.com. Serenity Now! With Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Transform your space with JML Interior Design in Clayton. For 32 years, local woman business owner Jeannie Lashmet has been creating stunning interiors that reflect your vision. From residential to commercial, kitchens to corporate spaces, JML Interior Design brings expertise to every project. Planning a home remodel, tackling new construction, or the expert commercial interior space planning service. Jeannie and her team deliver great designs that work. Call 314-453-4233 or visit jmlinteriors.net. JML Interior Design. We just don't dream it, we do it.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We'll speak with Steve Bucci from the Heritage Foundation on the ceasefire in the Middle East. And at 5:20, School Choice with Chris DeGaulle of Reed Lyon.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
The most informative 3 hours you'll have all day. The Dan Bongino Show.
Got a terrific guest coming up for you next. Hasn't been on the show in a while. Kurt Schlichter. Love Kurt's commentary. He served in the military, and he's got a couple things to say about the Hegseth nomination and the people trying to destroy him, destroy his life. And it's not the Democrats. The Democrats will destroy any Republican. Yeah, we expect that. It's the Republicans that are disappointed. But I want to get to this. Just stand by. What happened up at Capitol Hill is there are a lot of really pissed off people right now. Hey, I know it's hard to believe, but Christmas is right around the corner. And if you're thinking about what to get the firearms enthusiasts on your list, I highly recommend the rifles, shotguns, and revolvers made here in America by our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. They've got 200 models to choose from and a wide variety of calibers, styles, and prices, and you can't go wrong with any of them. The easiest way to check out Henry's firearms is to order a copy of their free holiday gift guide. Just go to their website. It's henryusa.com and click on the catalog button in the top right corner. They'll mail the gift guide with a few decals, and it won't cost you a thing. If you give someone a Henry rifle or firearm for Christmas, you're giving them a family heirloom built with the finest craftsmanship and performance I've ever seen. I have the 44 carbine. I absolutely love it. They look great. They are super reliable. They're backed by a lifetime warranty for 100% satisfaction. Collectors love them. Hunters love them. So if you want to put something made in America under the Christmas tree, make sure you order the free Henry gift guide and decals today from Henry Repeating Arms. Go to the website, henryusa.com, for a free gift guide and decals. henryusa.com. You're going to love this company.
Dan Bongino.
Folks, do I call it or do I call it? I told you the acting director of the Secret Service, Ron Rowe, is an absolute train wreck who is going to destroy the agency. He's asked a very serious question here by Congressman Pat Fallon. What were you doing in an operational position at the 9/11 ceremony, taking the place of agents who were actually operational when you weren't? I can tell you what agents have told me. He was there to grandstand and get FaceTime with the protectees. Now, listen to him explode and try to make a political thing about this, about 9/11. He says he was there, by the way. Doing the, I don't remember that. Could be true, but he's going to have to back that up. But listen to this.
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. Mm-hmm. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir. And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question, please.
You are out of line,
Congressman. Don't try to bully me. I am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are playing
politics. I am a public servant who has served this nation, and
you won't answer the question.
On our day, on our country's darkest day.
Committee will come to order. Committee will come to order. I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that
day? No, I wasn't. I was there representing the United States Secret Service, sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's expired.
It did not affect protective operations.
You know why you were there? Because you wanted to be visible, because you are auditioning for this job.
I was there to pay respect for a fallen member of this agency.
You endangered President Biden's life, Vice President Harris's life, because you put those agents out of position. Mr. Did you have a radio with you? Mr. Fallon, your time has expired.
I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman.
This is disgraceful. This is absolutely disgraceful. I've known Ron Rowe for 20 years. This is a disgrace. He should resign today. Ron Rowe, right there, is not telling you the whole story. Ron Rowe was there. Listen, I have no problem with Ron Rowe showing up at the 9/11 ceremony at all, period. Stop them making a big political issue. Ironically, it's Rowe making a political issue, not the congressman. Folks, I'm going to let you in on something. I hadn't talked about it before. A number of Secret Service whistleblowers, probably more than 10, reached out to me when this happened. They told me that Ron Rowe was there to get FaceTime because Donald Trump and others were going to show up at that ceremony, and he wanted to get FaceTime. They go, he wanted to look like the guy. So what did he do? He put himself in an operational position instead of a ceremonial one. He could have sat anywhere. No one would have mind. And by the way, ask Ron Rowe who he's married to and who they were, where they work, and why they were there too. Oh, look, he was there. Look at that. Start asking questions. The operational agents at the scene were pissed off because he took their spot and was not operational. He was not part of the protective detail. He was there for FaceTime. You want to go? That's very nice of you. Go stand off to the side. That's not what you were doing. You wanted to inject yourself into the photo op to look like the guy. And you know and I know that everyone who was there that day working was pissed off about it. That's why he had that ridiculous reaction. You know, every time I say it, I want to go back in government, stuff like that kind of changes my mind. We'll be right back.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Creators of the Public Schoolhouse, the premier event venue in Connellville, now present Oak Street Inn and Lounge. Trust me, you're going to need to personally see how this 1862 gem is transformed into a breathtaking destination. And you'll have an unforgettable culinary experience at Oak Street. Make your reservations for dinner or staycation. Oak Street Inn and Lounge.com.
Attention. This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. 800-797-0711. That's 800-797-0711.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The acting director of the Secret Service promising accountability for what he says is his agency's abject failure to secure a Pennsylvania rally where a gunman opened fire on Donald Trump in July during his presidential campaign. Ronald Rowe has testified before a bipartisan House task force. Rowe says there was a failure in securing the site before that rally.
The quality of the advance work and preparation for the Butler Farm Show visit absolutely did not meet the expected standards of this agency. Let me be clear. There will be accountability, and that accountability is occurring.
The acting director of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe. Also at townhall.com, 2 kindergartners wounded in a shooting Wednesday at a small religious school near Oroville, California. Jennifer King has more.
A gunman is dead and 2 kindergarten-age boys are hospitalized in critical condition in Northern California after a shooting at the Feather River School of Seventh-day Adventists in Palermo. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honey.
We have received some information that leads us to believe that the subject responsible for this shooting targeted this school because of its affiliation with the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Honey said the gunman had no prior connection to the victims. He was dropped off at the tiny Christian school by an Uber driver for what was described as a cordial meeting with an administrator about enrolling a child there. Audio courtesy KRCR. I'm Jennifer King.
The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose last week, but remain at historically healthy levels. Jobless claim applications rose by 9,000 to 224,000 for the week of November 30th, according to the Labor Department. On Wall Street, the Dow dropping 104 points, but the NASDAQ Composite ahead 53. More at townhall.com.
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalists sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data. Larry Connor's commentary brought to you by Senior Memorial and memorialplans.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
By giving a pardon to his son, Joe Biden did what we say in Texas when someone really messes up. Boy, did you step in it. You know what the it is. So does Joe. And his inner circle is calling him out. Incoming California Senator Adam Schiff says, I don't like it, but he's not going to be stepping in what Joe did. He's trying to stay away from it. In the meantime, California Governor Newsom wading in with his boots, saying, I understand the instinct to protect Hunter, but I took the president at his word when he said he would not give him a pardon. And then you got the district judge who presided over Hunter's tax case. The judge claims Joe is rewriting history. He said there is no evidence that Hunter's tax issues were caused by alcohol and drug addiction. They had nothing to do with 9 counts of evading taxes. The judge also ripped the pardon, giving Hunter protection from January 1, 2014 to December 1, 2024. There are 3 things we've always heard from Joe Biden regarding Hunter. If he's convicted, I will not pardon him. I never made a dime on any of his business dealings. And the one which shouts, liar, liar, pants on fire, no one is above the law.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. The Allman Report.
Hey, Thursday on the Allman Report, the world is going nuts, so in a good way. Jimmy Carafano, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
The Napoli heritage of fine dining continues with Napoli Kirkwood. Napoli Kirkwood, now open. So add that to Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. And don't forget about Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district, Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, plus now, open Napoli Kirkwood.
Hi, Ken Williams here. Looking to transform your outdoor space? Call Don the Nightlight Guy. Since 1989, Outdoor Decor has been illuminating St. Louis homes from landscapes to decks, patios to architectural features. Don does it all. Incandescent to LED, water features, path lighting. Don's got you covered. Mention News Talk STL and get a whopping $250 off any order over $3,000. Don Telgi, the Nightlight Guy at 636-697-2311. 636-697-2311.
True story. I was with Jay Ackerman, and a waitress came up and began praising Ackerman Toyota. She was afraid she might need a new car, so she had gone to Ackerman and was told, you don't really need a new car, just new tires. Obviously, tremendously relieved and thanking Jay over and over. Another example where Ackerman Toyota did what's right for her and will for you. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Colombo and Company. Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit STLFenceworks.com.
Work there now, worked there in the past. Absolutely horrified at that clip I just played for you in the last hour of Congressman Pat Fallon asking a legitimate question of Acting Director Rowe and watching Rowe melt down like a 12-year-old. Embarrassing. What a mess. All right, I want to talk about the effort to sabotage, the disgusting, grotesque, malign, malicious, pathetic, running out of adjectives and modifiers, effort to destroy Pete Hegseth's life because he's a change agent in the military. With someone who's been in the military himself, he's guest hosted the show. He's a good friend of mine, Kurt Schlichter. Kurt, welcome back. Haven't heard from you in a while. It's always good to have your opinion on these things.
Well, it's great to be back, Dan. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you, brother. It's I just found out something. Jim said that you were actually a little bit older than me, and I'm not trying to throw out an unnecessary compliment, but I thought we were roughly the same age. So you're doing okay there, brother, yourself. So 50 was kind of rough.
Well, my 80th birthday's been a real transition.
Get it, 80 my arse. You ain't no 80 years old. Kurt is a military veteran himself. And Kurt is very vocal about these kinds of things when it comes to issues involving the military. So I want to have you on. Kurt, you're an attorney, military veteran. There is a lot of money, as you know, because you spent your life fighting this stuff, in the woke DEI business. And sadly, as both an attorney and a military veteran, you've seen DEI infect, and I use that word purposely, infect and destroy our military, a military that should be focused on one thing, killing freaking bad guys. Pete Hegseth has been vocal that this is his goal, to get rid of this and make our military the most lethal in the world again. There's a lot of money in that stuff, though, and I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people really don't like the idea of getting Pete in there as defense secretary.
Look, Dan, there are a lot of people who are going to get their rice bowls kicked over when Pete Hegseth walks into the Pentagon. Look, Pete Hegseth, and I wrote about this in my town hall column, I think a couple Mondays ago. Pete Hegseth is a combat arms officer. He is an infantry officer, just like me. He knows what it means to take command. Okay, I've taken command many times from company level up to acting brigade commander. You've got, you sign a piece of paper that says you assume command. But you don't assume command. You have to go take it. And I got to tell you, in the combat arms, it's the land of wolves. All right? These guys, the guys you presume to order about, are not just going to give you their respect. Oh, they'll salute you and everything. But you've got to go in and take charge. You don't take no for an answer. You don't allow equivocation. You don't allow expectations. You set out your intent, you set out your expectations, and you enforce them ruthlessly. As a combat arms officer, as an infantry officer, Pete Hegseth gets it. He understands what it means. And, I don't know Pete Hegseth personally. I've never met the guy. I've never had a beer with him, but I know him because I served with guys just like him. And I'd like to think that I'm a guy just like him, a guy who will walk in and say, hey, generals, admirals, here's how it's going to be. There's no more DEI. You're getting rid of it, all of it, gone. And you're going to come back Friday and you're going to tell me you've gotten rid of all of it. And if anybody, when I ask you, have you done what I ordered you to do? And your answer is anything but an unequivocal yes, sir. I'm going to relieve you for cause. And you're not going to retire as a 4-star because you have not served adequately in the 4-star rank. Don't leave my office until you understand my intent, because I intend for you to fulfill it. That's the beauty of Hegseth. That's what's got them so scared.
Wow. Dude, that may be the best answer to a question. Jim, can we swap out the weekend interview or add that? I'm not kidding, Kurt. Like, that may be the most fully dispositive answer to a question. I mean, I do not know about combat arms officers. I was not in the military at all, but to have it explained that way, now it makes even more sense. Like, that's probably why they're upset too. That Pete was a results-oriented guy in an MOS where, Kurt, if you screw up, I hate the word literally, but literally, like, people die. Like, people will be killed.
Your guys die, and that's why you have to go in and take command, because the guys will know that if you're incompetent, you're going to get them hurt or killed. And this is why it's so scary to those generals, because he's going to come in and say, here's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it. It's going to happen. I guess the only question is whether you general and you admiral are here next week to watch the results, or your deputy sitting in that chair. Get it done.
Kurt, we're talking to Kurt Schlichter, attorney, military veteran himself, talking about Pete Hegseth. Kurt, one of the things I find particularly grotesque and offensive about the attack on Pete Hegseth and his character and his family and his kids and his mom, I mean, these are things that are actually happening, is as a veteran yourself, I'm not a veteran. I was not in our military. Can't say it enough, but sometimes I'm not suggesting there's any issue here at all, but sometimes there are people in law enforcement space that I am familiar with that see a lot of bad stuff. I'm not comparing them to the military at all. It's different, but you see a lot of bad stuff. Respond to kidnapping cases, people who are raped and home invaded, really horrible things, and you're surrounded by it all the time. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying sometimes guys in that space, women too, will go out with other people in the space who've seen this bad stuff because they're the only ones that can relate. I'm not a combat vet. I'm not going to pretend to Pete Hegseth, oh, I know what it's like to be in combat. I don't know squat about what it's like to be in combat, but I know what it's like, to get in a foot pursuit after a guy shot at you in the street. And it's pretty damn traumatic. So you go out with your guys, you responsibly have a couple of drinks, and you know what? The next day you watch a football game, whatever. That they're attacking this guy's character because he may have come back with maybe some emotional scars from what he did for this country. He certainly didn't do it for money. Sets up a standard that no veteran's going to be able to meet. I wouldn't even, if I'm a combat veteran with some issue I brought back from defending our country, I got to be honest with you, brother, I'm afraid to even talk to anyone about it because now I'm held to a totally different standard than everyone else.
No, that's absolutely correct. He was in 2 combat tours. Look, I was not in combat. My first war, I ran a heavily armed car wash. But I also saw a guy die for the first time in front of me. And I also understood that, I was responsible for these 20 folks and that we might have to go into a chemically contaminated area where my guys could die. And I got to tell you, even that, which is nothing compared to what Pete Hegseth or millions of other guys did. I'm not saying it did, but that weighs on you and it has an effect. And yeah, if he wants to have a beer or two, that's fine. Okay? Yeah. That's fine. And look, the guy has gotten through it. He's got a beautiful family now. He's doing what he should do. But I find it disgraceful to attempt to leverage the way that this guy dealt with the horrors and the stress that he experienced. Okay, because he was a leader, right? It's not just you. I'm not a brave guy, but I was never afraid for myself. I was afraid I was going to screw up and hurt my guys. And that
you're a humble guy, Kurt. You're a humble guy.
I have a lot
know
to
my
be
audience
humble about.
No, you are. Like you served in our military. I know you're being funny like the glorified car wash, but you know what? You certainly weren't doing it to get rich. And when your ass is overseas in some horrible battle zone where you could die any day, I appreciate your humility, but and the audience does too. But you listen, what you did, you deserve recognition for it too. Speaking of which, I want to bring up something else about this too, because I'm hearing getting some traffic, and you and I kind of run in the same circle, so you're probably hearing the same thing. Kurt has a great column at Town Hall. By the way, if you ever want to read his columns, they're always sugar-coated heavily. He never really gets to the point. So if you like, of course, I'm being sarcastic. If you ever want to read a column where you're like, holy Moses, that's what I was thinking, read Kurt's work. You will not be disappointed. But to have people like Senator Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham, who's backtracking a little bit, and, life losers like Lisa Murkowski from Alaska wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for her last name, right? To have them questioning Pete Hegseth after he's been a public figure for 10 years about anonymous allegations and acting like, well, we're going to do a thorough investigation. It's interesting. I'd like to see a thorough investigation into Joni Ernst. I'm sure she's never had a beer with anyone or anything like that. I mean, God forbid she's done it or had any personal issues in the past. Kurt, these senators, they're all above reproach. Lindsey Graham, too, definitely.
Well, look, Lindsey Graham was a colonel in the Air Force. He was a JAG. I'm not going to hold either of those things against him. Joni Ernst commanded a transportation company in Iraq. I can only imagine the pressure of having 100 people out on those roads whose lives depends on you. So I respect that, and I hope that they will come through. I have seen a lot of the regime media tell me those two are wavering. I refuse to believe that a fellow officer is going to betray another officer until I hear it from their own mouths. And I know that Joni Ernst has been there and done that. I know that Lindsey Graham, as a colonel, has an understanding of what's done, what needs to happen. And I can only hope that this is just fog out there and that they will come through and they will stand up for a guy who is prepared to move the Pentagon back to what it should be, focused on one thing and one thing only that you brilliantly brought up, the ability to stack bodies of America's enemies. So yeah. Hopefully,
Kurt, this is the only time I disagree with you. The only time I'm ever going to disagree with you, I think, because you and I really are simpatico on a lot of things, but you have way too much hope and way too much faith in these people. I'm telling you right now, they are not doing us right. And I agree with you on one thing. I absolutely respect anybody's military experience, even if I have political disagreements. I've said that often, and I will continue to say it. I did not serve in the military. God bless you for doing it. But that does not mean your judgment's beyond reproach. And I'm absolutely convinced these two are behind the effort to sabotage Pete Hegseth, and I find it absolutely disgusting. I mean, I'll just give you a quick corollary. When Bob Mueller, the Mueller investigation, Bob Mueller had a decorated career in our military. He did, and I thanked him for it over and over. Nobody's written more attacking Bob Mueller's credibility than me, because it does not mean for the rest of your life that every single thing you do is going to be on the correct moral arc of history, and they screwed it up. I mean, they are people, but it's not the Democrats, Kurt, that bother me. It's the freaking Republicans. Yep. You've already taken a scalp in Gates. Fine. Yep. You took your scalp. I don't agree with it. But this one, that Pete is a good and decent man. And this effort to crush him on our side, we can never forget if we lose this guy who did this on our side.
Well, Dan, I think we need a carrot and stick approach. You're definitely the stick. I'll be the carrot. I will show them the path to honor. I will show them the path to success. I will show them the path to their duty, and I hope that they follow it. But if they don't, if they refuse to, there's going to be a primary, and I'm going to be there, and you're going to be there, and all of us are going to be there, and they're going to say, oh, you can't primary an incumbent. Want to bet?
We did in the Tea Party Revolution. It's true. And Kurt, they said that. Remember the Tea Party Revolution? They told us the same thing. Oh my gosh, you can't party the Utah primary, the Utah senator with this guy, Mike Lee. Who's this guy? And Kentucky, you got this guy, Rand Paul. What are you guys, crazy? And you know what? We got an upgrade. So we will do it again. Kurt, unfortunately, I got to run. Listen, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Come back again sometime. We really like your comment. That was the best answer, your commentary there, that I think I've ever heard on my station. I'm not kidding. So thanks a lot, brother. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Merry Christmas. And again,
Merry
happy
Christmas.
birthday.
Thank you, my brother. Merry Christmas. Yeah, that was. So Jim, we gotta throw that in there. That was such a great answer. I had not heard that about combat arms officers. All right. I got more coming up. I did not forget about the United Healthcare CEO story. I just waited a day to gather some facts, and I've got an interesting take on this. More coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Hello, everyone. It's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, here to introduce something really special. You're going to love it. My new Trump watches. It's one of the best watches made. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know what it's for, who it's for, what it represents. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
That's right. President Trump has won the election, and now he's released his official Trump watches. Celebrate this historic victory with a Trump watch that stands for strength, leadership, and winning. But don't wait, because these limited edition watches won't be around for long. Go to gettrumpwatches.com now to get your Trump watch before they're gone. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of history. Go now to gettrumpwatches.com and get your watch today. This ad paid for by the Best Watches on Earth, LLC. See gettrumpwatches.com for details. Trump watches are not intended for investment purposes.
Go to gettrumpwatches.com for our Black Friday sale going on now. Dan Bongino.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here. The 2024 Newstalk's Christmas giveaway is here, and we're giving you the chance to win big. Enter to win a $500 gift certificate to Newstalk's Jewelry. Perfect for that special someone this holiday season. Register now at NewstalkSTL.com and WowDiamonds.com. Don't miss out. Sign up today, NewstalkSTL.com and WowDiamonds.com, and make this Christmas unforgettable.
Ready to soar beyond your limits? The U.S. Air Force and Space Force offer more than just a job. It's a launch pad for your future. With over 200 career paths, competitive pay, benefits, free education, 30 days paid vacation, and a chance to travel the globe, all while serving your country with pride. Your journey starts here. Call Jeremy Jefferson in St. Louis at 314-295-6834 or visit airforce.com and spaceforce.com today.
Hey, get ready to copy a number that could change the future of your company, connecting you to PRI Global and the world of artificial intelligence. Take a free survey, 636-689-0545, 689-0545. PRI Global has its own AI lab and can create the best way to help your business. 636-689-0545, 689-0545.
Hey O'Fallon, it's Lauren from Dirty Dan's Pizza and Wings, your women-owned, locally operated slice of heaven. We're serving up the best pizza and wings in town, made with the freshest ingredients and a whole lot of love. Check out our mouth-watering menu and daily specials. Dine in or carry out, the choice is yours. Join our loyalty program at dirty-dans.com for extra perks and mention NewstalkSTL for $5 off purchases $25 or more weekdays from 11 to 3. Dirty Dan's Pizza and Wings, where every bite is a local delight.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Tim Jones here, ready for some holiday cheer? Newstalk's 2024 Christmas giveaway is here. We're giving away a $500 gift certificate to Newstalk's Jewelry. Imagine the sparkle you could gift this season. Register online now at NewstalkSTL.com or WowDiamonds.com for your chance to win. Don't miss out. NewstalkSTL.com or WowDiamonds.com. Newstalk's Christmas giveaway could make this season truly magical.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
On Capitol Hill. It really is stunning what happened there. We played the clip for you. It's all over social media. He's asked a very simple question by Congressman Pat Fallon. And by the way, a good one. Hey, why were you standing in an operational position at this 9/11 ceremony, taking the place of operational agents when you're not operational? You're the director. In other words, what was your role in the evacuation or emergency plan? And the answer is nothing. The answer is he was there for FaceTime. Oh, he wanted to be there for 9/11. Great. I have no doubt he had was there to recognize the sacrifices people made on 9/11. You don't have to be in an operational position. And he knows that. And everyone else does too. I have more on this in a second. Hey, when it comes to protecting your family, it's not just about having a firearm. Lethal force isn't the answer for every situation. So imagine an imminent threat comes to you and your family. Instinct may drive you to reach for a firearm immediately. But what if there were a way to defend yourself and de-escalate a situation without the irreversible consequences of deadly force? Byrna's got a non-lethal pistol launcher equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo. It can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No need to go DEFCON 1. We just need protection to ensure we can defuse the situation and drive the threat away. I have a Byrna. I like it. I trained with firearms for many years. The Byrna pistol they sent me is one of the easiest to learn, use, and operate. If you don't own a firearm, even if you do, it's a great option to have. Made in America, legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now, and you'll get an exclusive 10% discount for my listeners today. That's BYRNA, Byrna.com/Dan. Check it out. You won't regret it.
Dan Bongino.
He needs to resign today. Who's he? The director of the Secret Service now. This is just disgraceful. I've had about enough of this guy. I've highlighted all of the things he's been involved in. The security failures at Mar-a-Lago, when agents in charge of Trump's security were begging for additional assets at Mar-a-Lago years ago. Ron Rowe was part of the management team that declined those assets. And one of the people said, hey, we don't secure nightclubs. Oh, really? What if a nightclub owner runs for president? You don't secure nightclubs? I didn't see that in 18 U.S.C. 3056. Ron Rowe was part of the January 6th leadership team where the Secret Service texts mysteriously disappeared about the pipe bomb and everything else. Ron Rowe was the deputy director when Donald Trump was shot in the head. Ron Rowe was the acting director when he was almost killed again on the golf course in Palm Beach. You're like, and this guy got promoted. Yes, he got promoted for this. Now he's up on Capitol Hill screaming like a lunatic because he's asked a legitimate question why he's in an operational spot at the 9/11 ceremony where our protectees are taking the place of actual operational agents. He shouldn't have been there. You want to go to the ceremony, stand off to the side. That's not the spot for you. And you may have gotten over on the congressman or someone else, or think you have. You're not getting over on me. I did this for a living too. You're lying and you know it.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-6486. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-6486. That's 800-550-6486. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Dan Bongino.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. After the murder of an United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on Wednesday, New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says the search for the suspect ongoing.
The full investigative efforts of the New York City Police Department are well underway, and we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
The reason behind the killing remain unknown. House Speaker Mike Johnson rejects a White House request to pass $24 billion in additional aid for Ukraine by the end of the year, saying any further assistance for Kyiv would be decided by the president-elect Trump. Correspondent Bernie Bennett explains.
Johnson said in response to a question if he would add aid to Ukraine to a continuing resolution to fund the government, quote, I'm not planning to do that. Speaking during a House Republican leaders' news conference, Johnson said Trump's election victory is changing the dynamic of Russia's war on Ukraine and that any additional U.S. assistance for Kiev should be decided under
Trump's victory is just the first battle. The deep state stranglehold on our economy took 50 years to build, and they won't let it go without fighting. The damage runs deeper than most Americans realize. A corrupt monetary system, a national debt exploding beyond control, a crumbling dollar. The deep state spent 50 years rigging our system. Now their economic time bomb is nearly unstoppable. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bennett. I'm here to remind you, you are not powerless. Throughout history, gold has been a safe haven from economic corruption. My trusted allies at Birch Gold Group know this. That's why they help Americans diversify their IRAs and 401ks into gold. To see how it works, get a free info kit on gold IRAs. Text the word PREPARE to 989898 right now. Don't let 50 years of globalist sabotage destroy your savings. Text the word PREPARE to the number 989898 and protect your hard-earned savings. Again, that's PREPARE to 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis's #1 for conservative talk.
NewstalkSTL.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
The Republican Party of the City of St. Louis wishes you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter how you celebrate the season. Join the City of St. Louis Republicans for their annual holiday party, December 18th at PH Rose. There'll be a silent auction, raffle, and plenty of holiday cheer. Go to stl-gop.com to get your tickets and learn more. The City of St. Louis Republicans wish you a joyous holiday season and a prosperous new year.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
The latest on the assassination of the CEO of United Healthcare, shot down in Manhattan.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. This hour, the Dan Bongino Show, brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Any questions? Call 8444-the-USA to get the answers. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
No, this is this is why I love you, program director, to give us a solid platform for the show. And Jim, did you see that email? Apparently we may be adding some more big markets live, so we love that. And then I heard we're live all 3 hours now in Kansas City, KCMO. So the show's exploding. Thank you, Kansas City, KCMO. We appreciate that. You guys are great. But the benefit of a live show is this. Breaking news now being reported by Dan Scavino, who, by the way, if you don't know Dan Scavino and you're not following him on Twitter, you should. He is President Trump, one of his right-hand guys. I mean, this is a guy who's been with him from the beginning. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There isn't a more trustworthy person, maybe as trustworthy, but not more, in the MAGA orbit than Dan. He has been with President Trump from the beginning, and he is the best of the best. The best. I tell you that. If you believe anything I tell you, believe that. You should be following him on X and Twitter, because if he says something, you could take it to the bank that the president's okay with him saying it and probably told him to say it. Scavino's reporting and others that the Secret Service is now promoting officials who are very close to President Biden on the eve of Trump's second term. What's happening here? Eric Daughtry notes in a tweet following. I want to tell you what's happening here. What's happening here is the Secret Service has been infected with politics. Listen, I haven't done a segment on this in a long time, but this is important. Jim, you may have to throw this in the weekend show too, because the podcast folks are going to need to hear this, and you missed it if you only listened to the pod today. Folks, the Secret Service was never like this when I was there. I choose my words very wisely, folks. The Secret Service was not a political enterprise. It wasn't. I was there for 12 years. I never saw anything like that. Never. I worked for both Republicans and Democrats. I started during the Clinton administration, worked throughout the 8 years of President Bush, and I resigned under President Obama. I have never once heard a Secret Service agent or a manager say or even imply any kind of protection-related decision because of politics. I've had a number, however, of whistleblowers reach out to me and say, Donald Trump changed everything. Folks, there was an old thing in the Secret Service office. It was like a poster. It was a rectangular poster. A lot of the offices had them. It said, you elect him, we protect him. And it was kind of, meant to be funny and silly, but it was meant to be true that we are not a political intelligence gathering enterprise or anything like that. You select the president, you elect him, and we protect him. That's it. I was told by newspaper folks, media folks, get your pens out. We're the news now, right? Kneel before Zod. Because we're in charge now. Because we're the news, and we're way ahead of you idiots. So media losers, not the good ones. Susan Crabtree and others, you guys are awesome. But other media losers, get your pens out. I was told by a number of very reliable upper-level management sources that Donald Trump changed everything. That the Secret Service, which, like any enterprise, has Democrats and Republicans. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not expected to divorce your political beliefs. You're a citizen of the United States, too, when you become an agent. But because of the Hatch Act, you're expected, obviously, to not act on them. Not hard, right? Jim was not hired because he's a Republican. Now, it helps that me and Jim are simpatico, but Jim's hired because he's a really good producer. I mean, if he was a liberal, I'd probably say no. But I don't know. I don't ask people politics when they come and work for me. The Secret Service doesn't either. I was told by very reliable sources that Trump changed everything. That what we call TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, was so heavy and thick on what we call the 8th floor. That's the Secret Service has a headquarters building in D.C. The 8th floor is where all the upper level managers are. I was told the 8th floor is fully infected with TDS and that almost nothing related to Trump isn't colored by the tinge of politics. That's the most disturbing thing I think I've ever heard. I've told this story before, but you want to put meat on the bone? This is directly from the people involved. Because they hated Trump so much. The current director, Ron Rowe, who was, I think, the deputy or the ADPO, Assistant Director of Protective Operations at the time, and the former director, Kim Cheadle, who was horrible. Sorry, just reading here. This is hilarious. This just came in. Here's a text from an agent source of mine. This is real, Jim. RR is a total D-bag. Always was. That just came in. You can figure out what D-bag means. They told me that they were at Mar-a-Lago. This is not long after Trump leaves office after the 2020 fiasco, right? They realize they've got a serious security problem because Mar-a-Lago is open to members. It is not our business in the Secret Service to tell Donald Trump how to run his business. There is a thing called Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 3056. Go look it up. It doesn't say anything about the Secret Service protecting people except if they have business interests. It doesn't say that. When Bill Clinton was going around the country and the world speaking for hundreds of thousands of dollars, producer Jim, the Secret Service would go, we don't protect speakers bureaus. It's not your freaking business. He's a protectee. Shut up. You elect him, we protect him. That's it. But I was told and I was shown actual receipts, by the way, so don't tell me it didn't happen, that they asked for millions of dollars of security upgrades. By the way, upgrades they had no problem putting into Chappaqua, which is where Bill Clinton retired to, Chappaqua, New York. Dan, how do you know about that? Because I was there. I saw it. Ask him about the security room in the carriage house. Oh, yeah, look, it's right there. It's all in the newspaper. You can read about it yourself. There's a whole big scandal about it. Are you disclosing secure information? It was a big scandal about it. It's in the paper. You can read it. The Clintons were like, you guys go upstairs. We're like, wait, we just gave you all this money for security for you and you're kicking us out? Go read about it. Donald Trump spends a lot of time at Mar-a-Lago. So the people in charge of his detail, who have a lot of personal feelings for him as well, doesn't interfere with their job, but it's hard to protect someone and stay around them and to not develop some, personal allegiance to them as well. They were very concerned early on. Media people, you got your pens out? You writing this down? So they called headquarters and said, someone's going to get hurt here. We've got water access to Mar-a-Lago. There's a main road, 2 main roads right by the house. There's high ground. This is going to be a security problem. It's our job to fix it. And I'm going to tell you what they were told. People from headquarters came down, and in one of the biggest D-bag lines ever, some smartass said, we don't secure nightclubs. Oh, really? Funny. That's really funny. You didn't think that was going to get out? And the guy who was there who heard it told me it was absolutely because it was Donald Trump. There's no doubt about it. So I have zero doubt that this breaking news story, Secret Service is promoting officials close to President Biden on the eve of Trump's second term, is an effort to do, here's what they're doing. You want to see what they're doing? You ready, Jim? These guys leaving know President Trump is probably going to bring in a Secret Service director who's going to clean house. So what are they doing? They're trying to get titles before they leave so they can go and get really, really nice security jobs. Because there's a very big difference between telling someone you were an assistant to the special agent in charge and then telling someone you were a SAC, a special agent in charge. It's probably about $100,000 a year difference in your retirement job. Here's your boy Dan telling you what's really going on. Follow the money, kids. This is all about that. They are going to promote these people into positions of authority because they know that their time is numbered, that Donald Trump is going to bring a team in there to clean them out so they can all cash out on the way out the door. Oh, and by the way, it'll affect their pensions because they'll get an elevation in their salary. Oh, come on, Dan. Really? This is about that? Yes, that's what this is about. Because you may say, and by the way, I don't want to discount the fact that it probably is also to get Trump haters in there as well. I have no doubt about that. But they must know they're going to be fired. This is why, again, I'll say to the Trump team, I'm not asking I don't want any positions in the government, folks. I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I'm not lobbying for anything, period. You hear me? Put a period on the sentence here. Put a big one. Color it in. I don't want anything from anyone. All I care about is President Trump and the Bongino army. But I'm going to ask them publicly again, please do not hire anyone to run this place until you talk to me. You don't have to take my advice. But please, God, talk to me first. Because I'm telling you, I know everyone over there now. And you got a bunch of clowns right now running that outfit. That's what this is about. It's about money and titles. And it's also about another thing. You know how the government works? The government works, at the Secret Service at least, on the GS scale. It's a scale. When you get hired, typically as a Secret Service agent, you get hired as a GS7. GS, sometimes you get hired as a 9. I got hired as a 7. Sometimes even a 5. But that's rare as an agent. They're pay grades. So the Secret Service, most people get hired as a 7. After about a year or so, you get the GS9. Another year, you get the GS11. Then you get to what they call journeyman status. I don't want to bore you with this, but this is relevant to what's going on right now and why President Trump's going to be in real danger if we don't get real people in charge of the Secret Service. Most people only make it to journeyman status, which is GS13. It requires no It's just a standard longevity promotion. Everybody gets it. You get to GS13. Most guys stay there their whole career. And there's little grades within that. 13-1, 13-2, 13-3. You get little pay increases. Sorry, it's getting boring. The first promotion you can get, where you have to get actually promoted, where you're an actual supervisor, is to a 14, GS14. There's only one other promotion you get in the Secret Service in that GS scale. Really? There's not like 10 layers to it? No. There's only two. You're either a 14 or you're a 15, a GS15. That's it. But there's a wrinkle. It's not like the police department. Sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy inspector, inspector, chief. That's not the way the government works. You got a 14 and a 15. There's another thing on top of that. It's called SES, Senior Executive Service. Senior Executive Service is a very, very elite group because you can move around in the government. Once you get your SES, you can leave and go he'd be the ATF director. It happened to one of our guys, Carl Truscott, Secret Service director, went over to ATF. You can't do that as a 15 or anything else. You have to go back and apply. So a lot of guys want that SES because you can move around and play like the government carousel. Do you know that? So it's kind of helpful to promote a bunch of people and get them into SES and other things right before Trump takes office. That way they can move around government, engage in the government carousel. Folks, there's so many scams going on in your government. I'm telling you, you have to see it to believe it. I thank God every day for my life experience, even the failures. I'm not shy in telling you I failed at a lot. I ran for office. I lost. But I learned so much about the disgusting filth in politics that I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ every day for the opportunity. I did not fail in the Secret Service. I left with one of the highest promotion scores out there. I left as a 13 after 12 years. Probably would have been promoted in a couple of years. It takes a while. But man, did I learn a lot about how the machinery of government works. And this is a huge, huge scam going on right now. And they had better get someone in there competent to run that agency, the Secret Service, or I'm telling you right now, you are going to be talking monthly, if it leaks out, about assassination plots against President Trump, if not more. More coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
You heard us talk about Legacy Box all year long, but now's the time to take advantage of their best sale of the year during their Cyber Week event. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season to family or even yourself. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions. And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film reels, and photos for as low as $27, saving you hundreds. My father sent me a bunch of old VHS tapes of my brother playing hockey, and he said, Dan, I need you to send these to Legacy Box for me. So I did. Legacy Box is a simple and safe way to digitize your treasured videotapes, film reels, and photos, and they've helped over 1 million families do just that. Think of all the Christmas mornings you recorded. Relive those with the family this holiday season on the big screen with Legacy Box. Hurry, Legacy Box's best sale of the year won't last long. Visit legacybox.com/DanB for an unreal 65% off during the Legacy Box Cyber Week event. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast. Shop Legacy Box's lowest prices of the year now at legacybox.com/DanB. Buy your Legacy Box today. Send it in when you're ready. Legacybox.com/DanB.
Dan Bongino.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know